Yesterday, we started the day with 6 teams. Now we're down to 3. We've got Public Hamsters in the winner's bracket and Red Notice and Final Chapter in the elimination bracket. A champion for the first ever Rogue Company LAN event will be crowned in just a few short hours. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get the Rogue Company Invitational started. Hello everyone, my name is Millie and I am joined with Rome and Blue, and we are all so excited to get right into our first game, the elimination bracket finals. We have Final Chapter versus Red Notice. They're back again. We saw one match happen yesterday. Final Chapter went 3-0 against Red Notice.
Yeah, it was really interesting yesterday to be able to see this squad in Final Chapter take out Red Notice in the winner's bracket yesterday. That was what a lot of people considered to be the first real upset of the tournament, and honestly, they look on a roll right now. This squad in Final Chapter, they look good all yesterday. They have been playing well above what my expectations were for sure, and I cannot wait for this matchup. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed watching Final Chapter, not just because of Feast Story and the way that he's been bringing some things out that no one expected, like Sigrid, who hasn't been picked in God knows how long. I mean, oh, wait, I know. 6 months, actually. But no, the things that Final Chapter is doing right now, I know everyone on Twitter, everyone in the Twitch chat is always, for the past couple hours, has been saying, this is Red Notice versus Public Hamsters. That's the final we want to see. But to be honest, Final Chapter is that underdog that, I want to root for, right? As we get into this, you're going to see they've been doing some things that people will not expect. Not just the Sigrid thing. They've changed the way they are banning, right? They started target banning yesterday. They got rid of things that no one thought they would ban, and then all of a sudden they started target banning their maps and the way they were playing those, and they were just so smart with it, and that is why they were able to 3-0 Red Notice yesterday so convincingly.
That's right. So our day 2 schedule, this is what it's going to look like, all right? Our elimination bracket will be, again, as we said, Final Chapter versus Red Notice. That's going to happen coming after right this at 4:30. And then following that, we're going to go to, as we saw, Public Hamsters, and then to be determined, either Final Chapter or Red Notice. So that will be our grand finals happening. And then we're going to be crowning our first ever Rogue Company Invitational champions.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a good one. Going to be a fun one for sure. The cool thing is we already know a little bit about the map layouts, the bans. We already got all that information already in front of us, which is awesome. We get to talk about it right now. There's some very interesting things going down, all right? So Final Chapter, let me start it off with the maps. They banned Windward, Red Notice, then they vetoed Palace. Final Chapter, they picked Breach, so we're going to be going their first map. It's going to be very, very interesting. I'm going to be very excited to see how they play, what the bans are going to be with Rogue-wise and all that. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, the Breach map pick is actually super interesting. If you go back to their matchup yesterday in the winner's bracket where they had to go against Antimatter Gaming, what do? They go to a Game 1 Breach, and they win it convincingly. Then guess what? They go to a Game 1 Breach on demo against Red Notice in the winner's bracket, and they win. It was so easy the way they were able to do that.
That's right. So we're going to move over to our format, right? So our format is going to be, obviously, the main 3 characters that we haven't seen in this tournament were Switchblade, Cannon, and Umbra. Those have been perma-bans for just this tournament. 4v4 format with coaches allowed, as we've seen, again, over the past 2 days. Because we're in our grand finals, it is still best of 5, just like our bracket play. And obviously our elimination bracket finals will also be the best of 5. What are you guys feeling?
I'm going to be honest, looking at this one, if I had to choose between these 2 squads right now, I think that it's all going to depend on how Red Notice are going to be able to show up today. There's a reason that we had them as pretty much the 2nd overall favorite in this tournament, but they have not been playing up to expectations. We've seen them get down a little bit once they start losing rounds, losing maps, getting quiet as a team. That cannot happen today. Now is where everything matters, because guess what? The difference between 3rd and 2nd, it's $1,000, $250. That's a big disparity. That's a lot of money you got to be trying your hardest. Everything that you've been putting in practice-wise, rogue-wise, understanding how you want to play, it all has to come out right now. You don't have any second options.
Yeah, there's a lot of money on the table. A lot of money.
That's right. What did they come here for? They came here for the $10,000 prize pool. Our first place, well, let's start with our third. All right, because all these teams are guaranteed money, right? So they're in the money. They're feeling good. Obviously, they're not walking away with nothing. So our third place team is going to take home $1,000. Our second place team is going home with $2,000, and our first place is going home with $7,000. What would you guys do with $7,000 right now? Oh, then you could do a lot.
Well, let me say, I would pay off my car, I would pay a couple months of rent in ahead, you know, pay down my credit cards. That'd be good to go. That's a great land for me.
That's right. So, the teams, 3. We have 3 left. Public Hamsters, Final Chapter, Red Notice. What are you guys thinking? Who's going to take it all? What are your predictions?
I mean, everyone wants Red Notice versus Public Hamsters. Obviously, everyone thinks Public Hamsters is going to win. That's kind of like, you know, the odds-on favorite. I got to be honest. I'm rooting for Final Chapter. I've kind of fallen in love with the underdog story. I'm looking at like the stats, the rogue bands from yesterday, the matches they played. Like, look at these match scores. They're so convincing for Final Chapter. They only lost 2 games yesterday. Okay, in the bracket play, 2 games. They lost a Game 4 King of the Hill against Antimatter 2-1. That's close. That's overtime in King of the Hill, right? And they made mistakes. That's the reason why they lost that game.
Yeah.
And then the only other game they lost was Game 1 to Antimatter, which was 8-7. That's overtime as well. So if they go to overtime, it doesn't look good for them. But other than that, convincing wins. 2-0, 8-2, 8-2 in that series. Let's go to Red Notice. 8-5, 2-0, 8-3.
Dominance.
Come on. Final Chapter. The book has just started.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm looking at this one prediction-wise. You know, I could sit here and say Red Notice is going to play up to what we know they're capable of, but I'm going to be honest. Last night, I was up with P-Story till about 6 in the morning. We were VOD reviewing, going back over all the matches. He was watching every single Red Notice match. He was taking notes, understanding how they wanted to play, and all that I think is going to honestly pay off. I got Final Chapter taking this one.
That is right. So, guys, this is it. This is it, all right? So we have some gameplay from yesterday that we're going to watch right now and some recaps. Let's give this a watch.
Yeah, overall, it was just so many amazing plays. Even the body shots coming in. Man, oh man. Delena, he was really feeling himself for sure, man. All around, these players are just so talented. I'm so happy that we just get to be here and witness it firsthand. The fact that these players are able to come here, show out at LAN, and really show their stuff, show their mettle, if you will. It's been absolutely a treat for sure.
I don't know if Delena's going to do as great today because I think I got in his head after beating you and him in Battlezone. So that might have been a problem, you know. I don't know how well P-Story's game plan is going to be now. I have a little doubts in Final Chapter because you were VOD reviewing with them, and obviously you couldn't win Battlezone. No, but in all seriousness, the Red Notice is doing some great things too. I mean, Drew is my breakout player from yesterday. So, but I also said in the tweet, you know, people kept asking me, who's your breakout player for the whole day today? And I said, okay, it's Drew, but it's close with P-Story right there. So the 2 players that I named, they're going head-to-head here in a rematch in the bracket. It's going to be a good one. I think that Joker's really stepped up too. Again, people always just paint Kestrel all over him, but if you actually look at the stats, I mean, it's like 20% pick rate on Kestrel and like a 19.5% pick rate on Dahlia. So
it's right there.
He's been playing Dahlia for over a year as well. So he's been playing it well this weekend.
Yeah, so not only were there great highlights yesterday, we also had some pretty interesting action this morning. We're sitting with the coach of the Battlezone 2022 champion right here.
You're sitting with the losing coach and the winning coach.
I didn't say that. I'm just talking to Blue over here.
We're just trying to hype you up, man. You got the dub. You got the dub.
Listen. I know I got the dub because I have a blanket for my plane ride home, and you do not.
All right.
Very true. Very true.
How was it for you?
Honestly, it was so much fun coaching. Like, it was fun to be able to talk to the players while they're playing, be able to give my thoughts, give my tips here and there, being able to say, oh, man, watch out for the flank. And then a guy comes flanking. It's like, yes, I did that. You know, it makes you feel good. So coaching is definitely fun. It's going to be interesting. I'm not sure if any of these 3 teams here are going to have an official coach behind them being in their ear during their matches. It would be very interesting if one of them brought that into today. That would definitely be an X factor for sure. But overall, I'm thinking that this is just going to be, it's going to be awesome, man. These teams, honestly, these players, they don't need coaching, man. When it comes to Demolition, they know how to play it. King of the Hill, their guns are just amazing, man. Their gun skill is absolutely incredible, so they're ready for this.
How did you guys think of the devs gameplay during the Battle Zone games?
Well, I did tell Pretty Hair to play the revive character.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah,
he
right.
got 5
It worked
revives,
out
and they
for
were
you.
clutch revives, okay?
Yeah.
His drone got there first, my teammate got up first, and my teammate won that fight because of that. So, shout out to Pretty Hair.
Yeah. Yeah. Scott, he was on my team. He did his best. You know, after the first map, he said,
I don't want to hear it. All that trash talking. You even made a Twitter video talking trash before we started. Like,
I was hyped, man.
yeah,
I was hyped. First
I was
time
hyped
coaching.
too, but I'm a humble hype.
Humble.
And now I'm a humble winner.
There you go, man.
Oh,
there you
wow.
go.
Well, Battle Zone was pretty incredible this morning, but the real story is here, is our next match that we have lined up. Obviously, final chapter, Red Notice. Let's tee it up, all right? So what are we feeling? Let's talk about roster, right? Red Notice, we have Nash, Drew, Joker, 40. Final chapter, Story, Spencer, Saint, Yokes. How we feel about that? What are these key players? What are the key players from each team that you guys are going to be looking at?
I mean, you know, Blue spoke on it. Honestly, I'm looking at the top fraggers for each squad. It's been Drew, it's been P Story for their respective squads. So honestly, I'm looking at them to be able to really put their imprint onto this series personally. But let me just say, Drew Whitlock is known for being one of the best runways in the game. Let me just say this. All 5 maps in this series, Red Notice, the team with Drew Whitlock, banned runway. All 5 maps.
I saw that.
King of the Hill, Demolition, doesn't matter. Red Notice, they got it out of here. So that is very interesting. 40, he let me know.
That's because of Saint, man.
You know,
come on, go back and watch Final Chapter yesterday. Saint TK on the sniping runway was just insane.
He was matching Drew.
And this is something that Red Notice did yesterday too. They start target banning. So what do? Okay, listen, Drew, you got to play something other than runway. He says that's fine. We have more confidence in you performing on something else rather than allowing Saint to play something that he succeeded on so terrifically yesterday. And then another point is the fact that you look at what Red Notice did in their other matches. When they faced Elevate, what was Skeppy playing all day? Playing Anvil. So what does Red Notice do when they go up against them outside of group play? They said, we're going to ban Anvil all 5 games, and they did that, and they were successful because of it.
That's right. Let's talk about some keys to victory that we have. First for Red Notice.
You know, this squad, Red Notice, you know, he has to stay composed. Drew Whitlock specifically, he has to stay so composed as a 15-year-old here. Already, the side of Final Chapter, they've said that they're going to be targeting him. They're going to be coming up, talking crazy to him, talking a little bit of smack, a little bit more than we saw yesterday, so that's going to be interesting. They're going to be trying to get into his head and knock him off his rocker. 40, he has to stay focused on the end goal. We know that he can get cocky, he can get happy, he can get hyped. He needs to stay grounded and stay focused. And then, you know, you look at Nash. He just got to keep the good vibes and be a full-time leader, man. Simple as that. We all know Nash, sometimes he can get down in the dumps when they start losing rounds here and there. He's just got to keep that positive mentality, that positive vibe. And hey, listen, last but not least, Joker. He's got to believe in himself even through the losses. I will say this, Joker is one of the few players in this game that really performs to his confidence level. Anytime that confidence gets shot, he just starts to underperform. And so we really want to see Joker just keep that confidence extremely hyped, extremely there, man. It's got to be, he's just got to be ready for today. And I think he will be.
Yeah, I think Red Notice, I think they do their homework. Obviously, we just talked about how they target ban, and they're really good at that.
Yeah.
But I think the problem that will come down to Red Notice is the ability for Final Chapter to win these games convincingly like they have been yesterday. And also, you take a look at what maps have been chosen, right? And the number 2 map choice was Canals. I mean, Red Notice, what are you doing? You just watched Final Chapter demolish Antimatter on Canals yesterday, and you say, okay, we're going to pick it into them. And Final Chapter is probably just going to say, okay, we feel comfortable on that even without runway. Only sniper available for Saint TK is Phantom and Fixer now, and Fixer I don't think is going to get banned here in this series. So I think Red Notice, Drew's going to be on that Fixer. I don't know what Saint's going to be talking. What he's going to be playing, I don't know. But we'll just have to wait and see.
All right,
However,
some more keys to victory. There you go.
I was going to say, I do have a couple keys of victory
All right,
for
let's
my
hear it.
underdogs out here, okay? Get a good night's sleep. Again, Yokes
Always.
is staying in an Airbnb. So, you know, he might not have anybody to tell him, go to sleep, lock the hotel door. So hopefully They got some good seed. Play as a team. This is something that a lot of people, especially in Twitch chat, you know, they always get upset. Look at this guy. He's got like 300 damage. Yo, it's 4v4 format. Play as a team. That's what they did yesterday. You do not need to be the hero. And if you are the hero in, let's say, round 7 of game 1, you don't need to be the hero in round 8. You don't need to be the hero in the next game or the next game. You've got teammates to rely on, and that is part of what Final Chapter did so successful yesterday. Yeah. They worked together. Even when people weren't, I mean, look at Battlezone today. Pretty Hair wasn't getting downs, but he was doing something productive, and it helped us win. The revives. Rome, you know all about that. Oh, yeah. Win your coughs. This is something that they struggled with yesterday because they were only 2-1 in them because they lost 2-1 in one of them. But hey, we'll see if they're able to win their cough here. Hopefully it goes 3-0, so we can keep that underdog story alive.
That's right. We're going to give a look at the bans for this upcoming match.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about the bans, the rogue bans for this first map of Breach Demolition is that Final Chapter, they went ahead and banned Trench and Talon. Red Notice, they banned Ronin and Runway. So you know what that means. Normally, the 2 basic bans are Glitch and Ronin, but guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Glitch got through. So I'm expecting to see P-Story either going to be using that Glitch or that Sigrid, but either way, that Glitch is just so good at flanking. We know how lethal that it can be on the map, and I'm going to be excited to see how this Glitch is going to be able to play around the map.
Yeah, you talk about Glitch. Listen, P-Story, Nash, both great Glitch players. Yeah. But let's look at the facts here. Over the course of the last year, P-Story has picked Glitch 48% of the time, and most of that was before Glitch was even as good as he is right now. So think about that. Just add a little bit more spice and update that player. Boom. P-Story, I think, is going to be a little bit better on it. Nash loves playing Glitch as well, but hasn't played him as much this weekend, mostly because he's been banned a lot. But I think that if you leave Glitch open, especially if you're going to ban Ronin, I think that's a smart choice. Here's why. Because Final Chapter says we're going to take Nash completely out of the game. We're going to give him Glitch because we feel confident that P-Story is going to outperform him on the Glitch if we need to choose it. We take out Talon. We take out Trench. 2 huge, massively influential rogues on this map. That's what they do. I think Final Chapter has the advantage here, even though I still don't know what Saint will be playing if Runway is out of the question.
Yeah, it's going to be a big question mark for sure. I'm excited to see what revive character is going to be coming through as well. Trench is banned out, so there's going to be no Dahlia Trench link, so maybe we're going to be seeing Saint on both sides here. Who knows, man? It's going to be fun either way. I'm expecting, honestly, Nash and P-Story to both be on the Glitch. I'm expecting a whole lot of situations where it's 3 players going one way and the Glitch going solo the other way. You can see Drew right now. He's smiling, getting those fist bumps in. He's ready for his first day 2 of a LAN. You see it, man. He's feeling good. And then Saint, he is the only M&K player here, and he is still in the tournament, ladies and gentlemen. So all you M&K players out there, just like Pretty Hair, you guys are going to be feeling good about that one.
Hey, you know, something else that's interesting. You mentioned no Dahlia link because the Trench won't be there.
Yeah.
The Saint was only banned 1 time yesterday throughout groups and bracket play, through demo and King of the Hill. Guess who banned him? Final Chapter. Did they win that game? Yes, they did, Rome.
They have had some interesting bans, and I feel
like
they're
the ones who are doing these interesting bans.
Yeah.
They're making these they're doing interesting plays, not just interesting map choices or rogue picks, but the plays as well. On Breach yesterday, they go B, they plant the bomb with no shield, no scorch. I mean, incense are coming, grenades are coming. They're doing it with a trench with no smokes.
Yeah.
Nothing, just out in the open like that, and they're winning those fights because they came prepared. They said, listen, we're an underdog. We had to go through a qualifier bracket to get here. Let's do some funky stuff. And we even have a sub coming with us in Yokes. Let's do something crazy. If it works, we roll with it. If it doesn't, then, hey, at least we tried, right?
Yeah.
No one's got 10 grand on us winning 10 grand.
Yeah, and you know, that was another thing that I was talking about with P-Story last night, is he understands that picking out the Sigrid at random times, it can really catch teams off guard. You know, we all know, we call him P-Sigrid sometimes, you know, simply because he's really the only person that has mastered that rogue in rogue competitive. And hey, listen, if he's going to be pulling that out here, I would expect it to be on the offensive side, maybe even the defensive side for some retake potential. But I mean, honestly, Sigrid isn't all that bad of a pick. pick on this map, especially with Trench not even on the map.
Anvil's available here too, and we've seen how massive he's been on Breach, not just Breach, any map recently in Demolition. The double shield for both retake on defense, shutting down lanes, and also playing the attacking side, especially for this B bomb site. So wide open, so many different angles that can come through, and we even saw the numerous amount of angles that opened up in a Public Hamsters Breach Demolition yesterday against Elevate, where one person would shoot someone and then they'd go to finish that, but they're getting crossfired, and then the person protecting the crossfire is getting hit with a crossfire. So the way these teams have been able to open up this map a little bit more with the different rogues and just some of the updates that some of these rogues have gotten, like Glitch and Anvil, has been tremendous to see here.
Oh, yeah, and I think the P-Story is going to be pretty happy about the Sigurd update that we saw earlier, too. He might be saying, oh, they're giving me a buff. Awesome. I'm cool with that, man. So he's going to be feeling good about all the upcoming updates as well. But, man, this one right here, it's going to be good. I got Final Chapter taking the series 3-2. I'm going to be honest, I think it's going to a map 5. We didn't even bring up all the maps. It's going to be Breach Demolition, Factory King of the Hill, Canals Demolition, Palace King of the Hill, and finishing it off with a Hollows Demolition. Man, oh, man. If we go to Hollows Demo, I'm going to be hyped.
There is some interesting stuff about Hollows as well.
All right, well, I think it's time for our elimination bracket finals to take place. We're going to throw it on over to our casters. We'll see you guys there.
And here it is, the elimination finals. Fawn the Legend with Kresnik TV here, of course. My good friend and good buddy. Love to bring you guys this amazing gameplay that we've been seeing 2 long days. And here we are back at it to see how this story finally ends.
We need Fawn the Legend here for what should be a legendary game. I think people looking at this from outside, who are, if you're a betting person, you're saying this might be one of the better games of the entire tournament. This is, Red Notice kind of learning from the last series that they played, Final Chapter off of a run from yesterday. Now maybe that momentum is killed. This should be, what in my eyes, a dead heat, even after, in the wake of that 3-0 yesterday. But what I thought would be a contested early round is not at all. Final Chapter, they walk in, they get that bomb planted, and Postman's coming in now. They have to smoke out, but Joker gets revealed and gets taken down.
That's part of the strongest thing about having such an early lineup, means that that bomb can go down wherever you want to, smoke or not. You know where it's going to land. They have to see if they can push forward. They need to keep the pressure on them to prevent them from stopping them from getting this defuse off. They get several downs, and Chapter are still looking great. They've managed to get down 3 on the side of Red Notice, but even still with the reveal, they have to play around the clock here. They get 40, and that is going to be a round 1 by them. Final Chapter. That is how they're proceeding.
Yep, very well done there. Good play at the other side of it. I think Drew was able to get 1 with that C4 with how far back they were. I think Drew just catching one person out in the corner. But they just played really far back, all focused the one corner that they rushed down. I think just a good call to keep all their eyes focused on the right angle. Sometimes you 50-50, you don't know where they're coming from. You got audio cues, that's all you can play off of, and it ended up working out for Final Chapter in that round. A couple downs, though, so not completely coming out of that without any cash in the pocket are Red Notice. They have a chance to probably have some primaries for them here, and we'll see if the plan changes at all. So the bomb going over towards this A site. Scorching hand, so Molly's won't be able to push her off. Not that there's really too much that could get in the way of that here. Dahlia linked to her as well for that plant, but this forward hold up top, I keep talking about it, this is the most important place to be, and now Drew baited out. They have that information, plus the utility, plus the overheat. Drew has to be a monster to survive this one, and of course, Drew's going to be still kiting, still living, but Burt taking so many resources out for that, they just have to make the trade worth it.
That's the strength of Dahlia. That's exactly what you see. Scorch goes down, gets picked back up immediately. The only reason why nobody could swing earlier was the fact that they were brought super low. That nade, that util that went out, prevented them from following up to make sure they got that trade, but who cares? You got Dahlia. The trade's still there. They get the kill, they get the bomb play, and now they get out of dodge.
When we think about success defensively on this map yesterday, I think of Drew up there with someone else. It's not just him. It's Nash and him both forward up there so they can support each other. Not happening here. It was just Drew alone, and I'm sure they're going to learn from that, or at least remember the same lessons they got yesterday. And this is just a very difficult post plant. We've seen this not really be broken before. You have to come out at the same time up top, and losing the Kestrel as well is going to hurt.
This is the thing about having such a prominent bomb plant. The fact that they have to force this, the Mamba putting in work here, stops 40 in his tracks, and they have to push him. Here's the thing. They can't get on the bomb soon enough because of the fact of where they planted it. This is the power of having as much pressure as you do. You get that bomb plant down, you have a good enough angle to line it up, and that's what happens. They have to fight you because it's too linear. You can't just defuse the bomb and expect to be able to get away in time.
Just want to point out, Saint has 6 downs in 2 rounds.
I mean, we love to see it.
That's 75% of the team downed on his own per round. So impressive. I think I could say that. Saint, the last bastion to the mouse and keyboard with an excellent first 2 rounds to start this off. I think he's been one of the storylines for Final Chapter, and obviously still, even off of kind of cooling down from yesterday, he got that Battle Zone exhibition in earlier. He got some of those dev games, and he is still clearly ready to go and performing excellently. So far, obviously only 2 rounds in, but we saw the endurance these players have yesterday. They went longer than quite a few others and ended up against the Hamsters in the Winners Bracket Finals.
Nashi has to back off. Can't really play in a good enough spot. This is the problem. So what? She gets hacked, but at the same time, the bomb still goes down. They have the utility. She can't move immediately. She's playing a little bit passive. I love how she planted the bomb and then waited. She got hacked, so she was assuming that somebody would try and swing her if she left immediately. Had enough information, managed to make it out, and now here we are again. Drew manages to get the final finishing blow on one of them, manages to down another. That's the power of the Mamba. The Saint sends the drone out, but that may not mean much. They've only got 3 people alive, and they have to fight. That's still the thing, right? There's a numbers advantage, but they still have to fight. They're trying to see if they can pick him up. Dahlia manages to grab the fixer again. 3v4 still. C4 goes out. Drew gets 1 down, and they're playing around the corner. I love that. They're playing Ring Around the Rosie because what's the point? They want to stall for the bomb. Yokes is getting shots where he can, and he downs another. Nashi tries to swing around the corner. He can't catch him because the bomb is about to blow up. That's the round for them. Final chapter, 3-0.
What a hero play for Yokes in the end. I'm like, all right, wow. Drew Nash, they're popping off. I guess that's it. And then I see Yokes hanging on by a thread and just narrowly avoiding all the damage coming his way. What a round for him. And that could have been the answer back that I think Red Notice needed. I think they needed to find something for their morale. We saw them, I think, being the most successful when they were able to be cocky, when they were able to be a little bit confident, when they had, 40 showing his shirt for the 37th time on broadcast and feeling himself, and I think they are a momentum-based team. That is going to be a very difficult round this early on in the set.
And that's also something to think about as well. When you look at Red Notice, you're starting to understand, or as should be observant, notice the fact that they are, it's only 3 rounds in. Round 4 is what we're on right now, but still, there's adaptation. And I like the fact, with that being the case, on Final Chapter side as well. Look at where Scorch is playing. She's coming around from the side. She wanted to check and see if anybody was in mid. They get the bomb plant down in the same spot. Nashi gets it down, but we know how this went last time. We had 4v3, but it did not go how people were anticipating. They have the glitch ready. They can go for the hack, has the C4, checking close with it, doesn't find anyone. That's the info it is that they needed, but even still, they are playing back. This is the same bomb plant spot they've gotten off every single time.
Yeah. I think the not having the reveal from the Talon maybe could be hurting them, but this is going to be another post-plant Final Chapter with a number down. They're going to be struggling to figure out how they can answer the numbers. We'll cut into their comms and see how they're going to do it.
We're gonna get all the red.
Right. Here comes they push.
I'm dead. Playtime, shoot bomb. Yeah, shoot bomb.
Spence, pop your ult, baby.
Yo, low-key, shoot bomb right now.
Joker's alive. No, good try.
Close, good shit.
Bro, it's like that's where, bro, like when I throw the smoke, like I was like the last one there, and 3 people were just waiting on me. Bro, I feel like I stay mid there and I catch them.
And that's important to be able to pick up when you're listening to them. When the listen is that we just provided with you guys, you can tell the fact about how they're communicating. Do you hear what it is that they're saying? Like, it's play around the bomb. The bomb's planted. It's a different story when you look at the game for what it is. It's a tactical shooter, but at the same time, when that bomb's planted, that's on your side. They need to burn time. What do they say? Shoot the smoke. The smoke went down. That's how they wanted to play it.
Yeah, low-key shoot bomb. I think we're in the high-key moment of that. I think we've moved past the things being low-key. I think you really got to focus fire at that. Maybe you can talk about it. I think you're allowed to, but didn't work out for them purely. I think number disadvantage, a big part of that. They've gotten a lot of early picks in some of these rounds, and with 4 versus 3, they can kind of have, Red Notice sends 3 in aggressively, and they can't have that the other way. but we can see how they're holding these angles kind of fairly close by here. Nash is close as well, but he's forced away.
It seems like for right now, they are going to hold off on the most part. They do actually manage to push things in. They plant the bomb. Let's hear a listen in once again for Red Notice this time.
So yeah, he backed up, he backed up, he backed up, he backed up.
Dahlia is playing up. Alright, now she backed up.
Yeah,
Scorch is on my
look
back.
at him. You guys gotta move now.
I'm hacking.
Slide.
We gonna backtrack.
Bro, you guys gotta push. I killed one. He's gonna Dahlia res that.
Saints on the box.
Alright, last one to the left.
66 on the box.
Last
He's
one to
on
the
the
left.
box.
Last one's in front of me. On ping.
57.
Fuck
nice.
out of here. Come on, baby! Can I get a res though? Let's go. Shit, baby. Give me that Joker. Joker. Shit. Go, dog. These kids are terrible.
Terrible. This
I
guy
shit on
pressure
these
was,
kids
nigga.
all day, every day, bro. Like, they're nothing special.
Skull,
It was literally bound to happen at some point, right? I mean, it was like literally it was bound to happen. That's exactly what we love to hear. And knowing that they're only a few feet away from them, they had to have heard that. It doesn't even matter. Even if they didn't, that's still the type of confidence that you need, even when you're down.
And honestly, half the time you say that, you don't mean it.
Right.
You're just saying it to make your team hype. I've said it a billion times anytime I've been competing in person, and I could love everyone across the field, but you say it just so your team feels confident. You got to operate with that mindset, and again, I think that is crucial to Red Notice. I think that's something that they really need if they want to play the way that they were playing yesterday, and they seem to have it at the moment here, but their game plan did get changed a little bit. I want to, before this push comes in, I want to take note. Talon banned on this map. Last time we were here, we saw Nash playing on that Talon, holding close over there, so a small pivot early, having to use the Glitch instead. Obviously, Glitch still a fantastic rogue, but changing game plan might have made things a little tougher for them early on as the Scorch gets C4'd and naded. Dahlia Res might come in time, but they're not the only one down.
And good job on the util to make sure that they can actually cover her retreat. They pop the ability, but she still gets hacked, sprayed through the smoke, gonna get knocked down still. Scorch is still in a bad spot. I love how they're playing. The C4 gets tossed out. Look at the awareness, the attentiveness from Red Notice. He gets it down with the arrow, but that's still one. You got 3 more to deal with. Look at the attentiveness. This is the stuff I love to see. It's the fact of them realizing exactly what it is that they have to do. They are adapting to the strategy that's been happening.
So I just got flashbanged along with the players when that one went off. I was paying a little bit too much attention to the screen. Insane. Ice cold there even after that round. Big answer back again from Red Notice. They have to change something up. I know it's 3-3 in the round. I know they have one more round for attack. Do they do the, double fakey? Do they just stay bingo? They got to think that we're going to stop doing the push that's not working anymore, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
I feel like they might just have to kind of full sell it, go back to A, try to take that high ground early. I don't think they're contesting it quite as much because they have done effectively almost a bunch of rounds in a row that haven't worked on this one site. They might not have Drew committed as far forward as they need him to be on Red Notice to actually hold that site defensively, but never mind. It's going to be again. It looks like they actually might think they're going to change the game plan. I was joking, but apparently it's working out.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, even
but
though it's been broken a couple of times, right? Like, it's been broken 3 times.
What's that, broken watch is right twice a day?
Right, exactly. That's the thing, right? It's the fact that they don't feel too pressured about going back to the site that they know works for them. But this is what's worrying, is the fact that they keep going back to the site, and we haven't seen them plant A only once, and that's the thing. They don't know Drew's there. That's the problem. You mentioned it. They waited too long. Simtex goes out. He gets res, but look at where he is. He can't plant the bomb. The instant forces him back, though. A good trade from Saint, being aware that that's what they needed to do. Saint still in the backline, playing back. They get the bomb planted. Good awareness and covers. We're looking 40 all the way in the 40 manages to get a good couple kills. They force Seeker all the way back. Joker is buying time right now because look, Seeker is here. Saint is all the way by himself. If they both swing together, this could be dangerous for final chapter here, but they get brought so low, they still get the kill on Saint, and Seeker's the last one remaining.
I think Saint rushed it. I think Saint didn't realize where Story was coming from or how far away Story was, and now it's Story in a 1 versus 2 no-bow up. He hears the defuse going in, has the Seeker Sensor's going to have to push it, trying to go there, but someone's watching the half wall, because of course they're watching the half wall. Good positioning by 40. He's standing up. He knows he was in the right place, and Red Notice will walk away from this half with an advantage.
And that's the awareness that you need. They've been slowly but surely every single time. We talked about this on the desk. We talked a little bit about the matchup between Final Chapter and Red Notice back here in the caster booth as well is the fact of them yesterday. This is not how they were looking. It was looking more of a one-sided match. It looked like Final Chapter had their number. That is how it is, right? Like, that's how we saw it yesterday. That's what people were expecting. But here we are, 4-3, by the way. And remember what Drew said earlier. His goal is to win this with Joker. That's what he said. And so far, they've been adapting and doing a great job.
They're playing up to the seed.
They are.
And that's something that, they had done in the group stages, of course, and then kind of had a difficult time against Final Chapter, but we heard, players were reviewing, players are really hungry for that win. See how it works for them here. Anvil now being played on the side. I want to see how this one will work out for them. Anvil on the offense. So we'd seen him played on the defense on this map a little bit but previously, generally shielding off that A side high ground, so you could have you can kind of hold that without exposing yourself too much. But now we're going to see it probably used for post-plant situations, or used it for the C4 to throw it over stuff. Fixer as well, locked in, matching that to the side. Final Chapter. It's one of that Seeker. I do like the Seeker, I think, out of them. I think the bow, it can be very effective here, and also just having the reveals multiple times over time. If your Dallas doesn't get that one kill after that, you're not going to get as many reveals as the Seeker, but the targeting of the effect is just so much stronger in finding out who's the closest to you with no chance to really miss unless there's a Ronin on the field. Yeah, of course, with this being the case, they throw out the instant just to keep people away from the wall and keep the pressure on them. I'm interested because Anvil is the one with the bomb. They're trying to play around it. They toss out the bounce nade and manage to give one down. Story gets one, tries to escape, but the C4 a little bit too close. They push Saint just to make sure they can actually get the kills where necessary. Is going to actually make sure that they get the kill. Let's listen in the Final Chapter and see how well they think their comms are going.
Let's go. I'm pitching right here. One shot.
Hold on, let me reload.
One shot right here. One. Thank you. Like, why are we staggering, bro? We should have just gone together. Let's go, though. Good round. Come on.
Good confidence.
Yeah, whatever, though. I mean, no, because every time we get into a situation like that, that shit
anybody died?
Yeah, because we stagger. We should have just all gone when we said go.
But still, like, I'm one. I have to calm that, but like you don't know that as well. You could look at my screen. Like, wait till everybody reach in and we could do that shit.
It's all good. Now he'll be ego challenge.
What type of communication is that you have? Obviously, emotions are high. You can tell that is the case on both sides, I'm sure. That's exactly the type of communication that you would expect to be able to have, right? And sometimes when you're on a team like that, you just gotta give it to them straight. Like you've been playing with these guys for a while. Just talk to them how it is.
And that's I liked how, even though it was one round, they recognized they made a mistake,
right? And
they talked about it constructively. Yes. They didn't say, "Yo, why are you staggering out, man?" Like, there's ways to do it that are, could make someone react negatively. There's ways you could do it that make it not as bad, and I think they did it in a really effective way. Speaking of effective, Saint mouse and keyboard with the tier finding. They're sitting back there behind the box. Nash will get revived here for a moment, but I wouldn't want to repeat that. He doesn't even want to reload it. He stopped the revive before he was even done with it fully, I think out of fear that the utility was coming in, and they found the angle. Nash so low 40, can't get away, but they're trading some lives for it with other people falling all around him. Saint, now the last bastion remaining for Red Notice.
But Drew actually managing to get the C4 off was pretty huge. They don't lose anyone, and in their rush to make sure they can actually get the kills where they need it, they ended up playing right into the hands of Red Notice. They tried to push up, tried to do what they could, right, to see if they can stop it. They realized that it was stalled out just a little bit, right? They realized that they had ended up making sure that Dallas wasn't picked up immediately. What is Anvil doing back there? A little bit impatience in pushing forward ends up righting the wrongs for Red Notice in that for Final Chapter in that situation, right? They don't end up going as well as you might expect it to.
Yeah, they were able to recover from that. It started off looking so good for Final Chapter with Saint holding there, and then I think everyone was like, hold on guys, wait, I got him. Wait, I promise I got him. Can you guys push?
Yeah.
Would that work out? And then everyone trying to clean up on that kill just kind of walked into the blender that was waiting for them with the angles that they were holding defensively here. How much intel is he going to get off this one? Might have got caught by an APS or something on the way in. I don't see any of the reveals, any of those outlines popping up, and a lot spent early by Spencer, nothing really gained. They clearly know that there's people here just from their eyes rather than using the utility. If they wait too long for Red Notice, there's gonna be another bow coming up, and they're gonna be able to check that again in, like, at this point, like 15 seconds, or less than that.
Yeah, and that's what I think is interesting is the fact that they've actually stalled out their push because they realize the util has been used, right? Doesn't seem like they're really committing because of the fact that they're trying to slowly wait and play around the time that they actually need to. And that's what Red Notice are doing. They haven't even planted the bomb yet because they realize they're playing around the timer. They don't feel they need to rush, but Spencer with the arrow finds it himself. Hawkeye immediately pushes around the corner. Drew tried to pick him up, and Joker ends up losing the fight as well. What a arrow to seal the deal, what seems to be for this round. What an opportunity. That's absolutely crazy. What good timing, too. He had the timing to be able to know that.
I thought that the holiday season was over, but Spencer just woke up with a gift wrapped neatly beneath the tree. Christmas is real. What a gift of a round that he was given by that bounce. There, 110 damage, knock him down, rush that in. You know that someone's going to be there because you have to hold that space. You have to hold that high ground space. It is so crucial to that site. You can't just let Drew die and bleed out in that room. You have to push it, so he knew he could safely go in, had his team covering him. Well done by Final Chapter to push in and clean up when they knew they were going to be able to there. I want to see, I like the Seeker playing up there on defense. I like him playing far back. He has bounce nade. If he knows the angles for it, he can get so much information. But speaking of information, he's not going to get any on this site. Well, the absence of information is still information. No one's here. Rotate away. Meet them. I'll stay back just in case it's a fake. But Story can tell now it's definitely not, and 40's hanging on by a thread.
Story's giving the call, though, and I believe the APS actually saved 40's life. Wasn't able to get the bounce nade off instead. It was shot midair, and that's going to be some util down for Kestrel, but she's still got the drones in her back pocket. She's standing up. It seems like she kind of just wants to hold this, just waiting for the time being, looking for an opportunity. Finds the shots on one member, right on Joker, but he rolls out of the way. They're stalling for a while. They're playing around time now. Smoke's still out, but she's going to throw it immediately as soon as they can. They have to be careful to fix her as well, but the barricade is there, and guess what? He still has another.
Oh, but you have to wait for the cooldown still for it, so he goes down on the attempt to back up. That's 40 not in the picture anymore, but the bomb's in a fairly good position. They need to push up for it. They need to zone them out. The smokes are coming up here. Fixer still available, though, to go through it. Here comes the thermal goggles. They know they can see him. They can hear that sound cue, and they're all waiting. This could be a massive C4. Are they all close enough to get hit by that? No, just narrowly getting out of the way, but the timer's running down, Fawn, and they have to push.
And that's the thing, though. They have to realize exactly what you were saying, President. They have to make sure that they move in when possible. They're just using their numbers to their advantage. One of them sticking the bomb, the others are pushing, and that's going to be the round for Final Chapter. The score is 6-5 at the end of round 11, but boy, is this game doesn't even feel like it's close to ending with how back and forth these two teams have been playing.
Yeah, I told you, going in, if you were a betting man, this was going to be, people were saying it could be the best game of the entire tournament.
You're right.
At the end of the day, Public Hamsters are looking so good, and both these teams are looking good as well, but they are so close to each other's level that they're going to be punching back and forth to see who gets a chance to end with a little bit more money and a shot at that first place cash. I mean, $1,000 extra to split between the team are riding on this game, so the pressure's on. Both these teams have already been in those kind of situations, and now we get to see who now, used to the LAN environment, used to this level of pressure, will be able to thrive. See how this defensive setup changes. We still have Spencer going up top. Again, I really like him in here. Having it inside means you have more bounces, means you're going to get more information. It just makes sense. This time, he's got some good intel, and he has Saint with him. That is huge. I think you need a partner up here. As long as they're far enough away to not die to the same piece of utility, it makes it a lot easier to control.
Same thing as before, though. We see them using a lot of the util, but still not overly committing to it when they realize that the util has been utilized on the side of Final Chapter, right? They're just slowly biding their time. There's two of them stacking. I think they actually know that that's the case. They're just playing, trying to gain info, trying to find out where people are at, and they know that they're here. The thing is that what is the play here? Why are they still stalling out for this long? They've been revealed. The last time we saw this, it didn't go so well.
Well, also, the last time that they stalled out, they got down by an arrow. So,
right, true. Yeah,
I mean, again,
right,
you can't really be like, guys, if we wait here too long, Spence is going to get a bounce kill on one of us. But it is wasting time where they're also giving him more arrows. The Seeker is just constantly regenning those. Getting them bounce nade could be good, but they do narrowly escape. I think spotting Story there made it a little bit easier to read. Halos come in. Spencer does find one pick. It's the Seeker. Spencer down in response, but in a safer position. Maybe could get picked up, but I don't think anyone can cross that gap to get there. But Yokes answer back with the down on the Dallas.
And that's the thing, is that they use the smoke to try and cover things for the time being. They have Dahlia Link, but wasn't quite able to get him, but they actually do manage to get Spin, so you gotta be careful. That Mamba tries to win the fight, but it's not there. I'm not too sure what that ended up being.
I gotta put my fragging goggles on for this one. I mean, there's nothing in the way. I'm not sure why. I guess maybe to see like the edge of the heat signature peeking to have a small advantage, but this is lead. I don't think that's really gonna help you that much at this point, but still the fragging goggles fell off. They didn't really work out for Drew there, but we're gonna take a listen to Red Notice right now. Down on the edge, only one round that they have to lose. Let's see how they're talking about it.
What do you want to plan? I get this ball down at B, and we're not choking. We win every time, and we always get the ball down at B. Going B, and we're getting this shit down, and we're not losing.
Nice.
Nothing. It's the closest. I'm gonna back up. Actually, I'm gonna hold your long. I got hit by a nade. Can we smoke and get the bomb down?
Yeah,
We're wasting too much time. They're gonna rotate.
Yeah.
Can we smoke?
He's one shot back there.
Go plant.
There's one close on me.
I got your swing. I got your swing. I got your swing. Snapping. I mollied them. He's dead. Dahlia's dead. Dahlia's dead.
I'm dead too.
Dahlia res.
Fuck.
Don't tell me they're gonna res him in the back.
He's gonna res. He's resing in the back. Resing in the back. Resing in the back.
One behind.
Oh my god. He's flanking. I lost her one. It's all good. Okay, I like it.
That's how it is. That's how they end up finishing things off. That final chapter, they take game 1, 8-5 though, Chris. That's the thing.
Contested game.
Definitely a contested game. Towards the end, obviously, they ended up running away with that one, but this says a lot about Red Notice as well, obviously. Congratulations to Final Chapter for making sure they take that first game. It was back and forth, but like I said, they did well enough to adapt and move on.
As soon as we cut into the comms, me and you, we heard Plant B, we don't lose. It's like, is it that easy? Apparently not, but I think when you're down to that level, you might have to be have a strap more so that, guys, just don't lose. What?
Just don't lose.
And I hate to be the comp critique guy.
Okay.
I hate to be that guy.
Okay. Well,
actually, I'm lying to you. I love to be that guy.
It's true. He does.
There was nothing constructive being said near the end. They were calling, they were planting, they were giving some info calls, but it was never like they were like, oh, he's rezzing. It's like, okay.
Okay. Yes.
Give something that someone could do about that. Like he's rezzing with cover. Like maybe we leave. Maybe we go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Info calls are good. You have to have someone to act, some sort of way to act on them instead of like sort of complaining about something. That's just me. I'm the comp critique guy, and as we do more listens in, I'm going to be able to babble on and on about that. But for now, I think that's something that they want to clean up moving forward. If they could, I think it's important for them to have that. I mean, again, they have like that hype level to them that we saw. They need that to stay positive, but they also are going to need that clarity and game plan being relayed if they want to have a chance in the set.
Absolutely a contested game, though. Definitely can't give them any less than what we've been seeing, honestly. To start things out 3-0 so far, and then to make this a contested game and then take the lead almost instantly, that is absolutely crazy. Obviously, you see a little bit of disrespect there, but the emotions
Sickest
are
play
hot.
of the game.
Yeah. like the emotions are hot. That's typically what you can expect to see at this level of play. Having a LAN environment like this, the nerves are gone. Beautiful bounce arrow from Spencer as well, but the nerves are gone. You can tell that they aren't there anymore. They might be a little bit, obviously, but it's less. It is less showing than it was in the group stages, right? Everybody was sort of quiet, sort of settling into their own like ways, how they wanted to go about certain things. But then here they were in a situation where they all were being extremely more vocal, right? Like, this is the time to do it. This is the elimination round. You're on the bottom side of the bracket. You have to be careful about how you're playing things. And I love how Red Notice was able to adapt consistently for the most part. Cool.
Blanky mode.
The
Walking
Blanky
out
boys.
of the room.
That's the Blanky boys at the end of the day. Gotta look at the bands once again. Vi, Runway, Anvil, and then Mac.
That's what it says on my. That's what it says in my handy dandy notebook back here. So it is going to be Mac. So maybe that makes sense why we haven't been seeing him as much as I'd want. I guess he's been banned a little bit more consistently throughout some of these King of the Hills, and I get it. I mean, he's kind of sick. He is pretty crazy on these maps. So you don't want him to be able to snowball Palace where we are going to be headed. And again, I will make a note. I believe Rome said this on the desk, but I'm just going to restate it. Runway is permabanned.
Yeah,
she has been not like G8 banned, but she has been banned every game this set individually already. So they don't want to do with Runway, but that's Red Notice that did it. That's the team that wants to rely on it, and I think they're originally worried. I think they were worried a little bit about Saint.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense too, especially with what Runway as a character provides to a team. Extra utility means that there's different ways where that last round that we saw could go differently, right? We hear the fact that they're rezzing in a corner. Okay, if you have a Runway, that's not an issue. Why? Because you have more utility in your back pocket. That's what people are tossing out at every point in time.
I also think as we head into map number 2, which should be Palace, if I'm not mistaken. But I think Lancer, it's Factory. Okay, got that flipped around in my head, so good. Factory will be where we're heading first. But I think Lancer is the king of the hill carry character. You put your star player on Lancer to head in, right? On Demolition, you give that to put your star player on Runaway because they can win any challenge at any distance. They have the AR, gonna be the Sahara in the pocket, obviously. They have the LR-15 to win any long distance sniping duels that are going on. So you can win at any distance. Plus, at the start of the round, they can put down a briefcase that is literally just full of money. Because if your team gets any kills, they get an assist for it if they've touched the briefcase. So, so much given to that. And, of course, doubling all the utility is an unbeatable level of resource.
And an interesting draft on the side of Red Notice as well. And just to take note of it, or notice of it, with that being the case, the second time it is I've made this joke today. But hey, we're still going and we're still powering right on through. They have an aggressive composition. If you can't beat them, outpace them is what I see that draft being, right? They have the Lancer, the Kestrel, the Scorch, the Dallas. A very aggressive composition, not typically what we would see in some aspects of things on different maps, on different game modes. But here, King of the Hill, it makes the most sense.
I'm actually looking back, this is just the same bans across the board for both King of the Hill maps. So for Palace and Factory, it is going to be the same ban. So they know how both teams like to play. They know what they believe are just the best rogues on the mode entirely. Just get rid of it, wipe it out of there, not have to deal with it at all as they're getting ready to drop in. But what you were talking about, those 4 that you mentioned initially, those are just the rogues to have.
Right.
And it's effectively the same on both sides, only, actually, never mind. I missaw the Phantom as we were dropping in. So Phantom instead of Lancer, Fixer instead of Dallas. But the one consistency is that Scorch and that Kestrel. I mean, that's corner pressure, that's a lot of damage, that's the ability to stand inside through the Scorch, a lot coming up there and a lot on the line for Joker now. Isolated thermals pop too, so he can't hide in the smoke. Joker still manages to win one fight, and that's a 1-for-1 early.
That still is a good look for them, especially when you're getting more time on the point, because that means since there's a man down, it's going to be a lot harder for you to make it there. The Mamba shreds 2 people, though, and they're still ready to fight on the cross just in case Spencer swing in the corner. Good little counter strafes here and there to make sure that he actually manages to get those shots, and he is going to be able to find the kill where necessary. Wins the one-on-one trade, though, for the most part, one-on-one duel, I mean. And they are going to be able to make sure that they still are in control of that objective for the time being. Final chapter have, on the tail end of that fight, managed to force them away, and now they've already made their way on the side of Red Notice to the next side.
And Saints holding here, trying to contest them early. All the scrap time going to final chapter right now. Bouncing so lethal, but huge read to get out of the way ahead of time here. This Joker will be able to start capping the site as soon as it's available, and Saint is able to regen fully so we can get into a contest here, but there's a flank. It looks like Drew maybe from the side, and I mean, they're all gone. I mean, nothing else to say. They're all gone. Yokes is still alive in mid, but if he wouldn't push alone, but I guess he'll win a 2v1 anyway while holding here, and that should open the door for them to push. If the spawns aren't perfect, then they could just walk it down. Yokes is carrying right now.
Scorch Gaming, if anything. You're not going to be able to win that duel as effectively as you want. Kestrel drones coming through the nano smoke just to prevent anyone from pushing in, trying to see if they can get the trade after the Scorch goes down. But for the most part, it is going to do its job. It stalls them in pushing forward. He does try to put up the goggles. Not going to quite be able to make it there yet, though. And for the most part, they're clearing off site. Time and time again, this has been back and forth. But Red Notice are really adapting. I've said that at least 3 times this set between 2 different maps, but that's important to take note of. Look at how different things are going from them as opposed to yesterday.
Yeah, the way that they're playing this King of the Hill is excellent so far, even if it is a very close game. I think it's got to hurt to be Yokes and get those kills and not have it convert. And that, I don't think that's the fault of anybody other than the fact that he was the last one left. So he got the kills, had to wait for his spawns because you're not going to run in alone. And there's nothing they can do. They just can't go fast enough to make that happen. So they have to give up a lot of this extra scrap time near the end. At least they contested it for a little while, but caught out in the open is Spencer. Final Chapter are getting some time here, but they're down a few. Their spawns, again, have to be good for them to have it. It doesn't seem like they are anywhere in the same zip code. Coming behind them, this flank could be a big deal, though. Saint coming in, and Spence and Nash has to find them both, but can't get either. Saint hanging on by a thread, and he'll down 2.
Rose out of the way. The Fixer does manage to escape, but of course now we're back on Seaside. Now Final Chapter have more control than they were anticipating. I believe the spawns end up getting swapped. C4 gets tossed out and does manage to down 40, seeing straight through the smoke. The thermal goggles playing a huge role here in how aggressive he's able to be. They do run out of time for the most part, but 67 to 53, 33 seconds on this current objective, and they're getting the kills where necessary. They may have to concede a huge lead, which seems like that's what they're doing in terms of making sure they lock down this last hill.
And this is the C heal, I think, is very contestable, so they are giving up a decent amount of time, but that D heal could be excellent if held really well. Story not able to take that fight on the timing that he was spinning around here. Spencer is ready to try and make a move here. Final Chapter. Even popping the overheat, so it looks like they want to go immediately, and then we'll avoid that Semtex just barely. Drew now forced to disengage, going to just hold back, wait to potentially have some crossfire, some cover fire, and they're setting up their positions here, but they've already lost a few, and any kills Saint gets right now really doesn't matter.
You know, Nash can't push for the time being. He's already extremely low. They're waiting for the region, and then Spencer manages to get the kills, tries to peek to try and see if he can fight, but Nash is still holding the crossfire angle for him. Can't quite get the pressure onto the site how they wanted thanks to that kill. He's able to reposition effectively, and this is a much better spot for him to stall people, push it on the other side of the wall, the open wall. When they peek over the garden wall, they are going to find a whole brand new land of opportunity. They get that kill and make sure they can still lock down the final site for this objective.
Vaughn, I haven't finished that show yet. You can't you can't spoil. I didn't know they find a land of opportunity. I need to watch it when I get home here, but watching the clock, what Red Notice have to do right now, because they are getting closer to the end of that timer. Final Chapter need to make their way in, and they need to stop staggering. Staggering is what got them into this disadvantageous position here as they trade 1-for-1. Make that 2-for-1. Have to find some answer. But throwing bodies away to get into the point. It's only Saint with 7 seconds left. It was contested for a while, but with him down, I don't think anyone is going to spawn close enough, and this half will go to Red Notice.
And sometimes the best opportunity is making sure you set up for the proper angles. Make sure you have that pressure. They're all smiling. They're all laughing. They're in good spirits. But at the end of the day, the spirit of competition is what's strongest. They do want to win this. Both teams, no matter how much smack talk it is they have, no matter how many times you see those smiles, you see those laughs, they may be having a good time, but everyone knows what they're here for. And that's something that they always will remain focused of, especially as we've been seeing how back and forth these games have been.
You're right, Fawn. They're all here for the Korean barbecue after the tournament. the tradition of every esports tournament ever. Every player goes to get that afterwards. And maybe they'll be laughing about this game then, but they're not going to be laughing about it, at least between each other now. They got to stay focused on this, especially Final Chapter, because I feel like that was a winnable round for them, and they, as soon as the D hill started being held by Red Notice, they just initiated stagger mode and took like several 2v4s in a row, and now big advantage at the start to Drew and the rest of Red Notice with the flank not having to be watched at all here. This is how you win with having the worst spawn. It's a 3 versus 3, but Drew has a great crossfire if Red Notice can pinch.
Getting the kill where they were as well, playing all the way on the right side and making sure they took care of the Kestrel means that they have more mid control and have to play by the factory side. Drew does manage to get down. They are able to at least have the trades, but it's about him stalling things out more importantly. 27-0 so far on the side of Red Notice, but Joker with the Mamba peeks around the corner. The snake bite is always venomous, and you got to make sure that things are dangerous for the opposing side.
Seeing him roll over the flashing red light actually almost gave me a mini heart attack. I'm pretty sure it was just a sticky sensor, but still, just that moment of recognition kind of scared me there, but no fear in the eyes of Saint, waiting for a player to push. Has to go and help out, but I think worried about getting pushed from another angle. Also maybe waiting for the timing here. Story has that crossfire very well done, but he's got to start contesting, and he does not want to give up his life, especially with the sticky so close. Only 30 health left. That did 70 damage. Can't wait for his team. Maybe could have at least died on the point to stop some ticks from getting given up here, but I think they have the time to go again. I think wait, have some players holding close, and then I think they have to move as a unit, clear out a flank together. Story, though, moving ahead. Nash now gets the kill, Nash gets the reset, Nash gets the info, and suddenly things are looking a lot worse.
tosses out the ensign. And you mentioned this yesterday, Krez, it's the fact of, okay, it may not be doing damage, but now we know that he's there, right? Like, we're aware that the Scorch is in that position, tries to jump over the corner, and Yokes does end up getting killed here. Saint TK trying to back up. Kestrel just forcing things back for the time being. Has to be careful, though. Trying to see if he can win the fight, playing around the corner. He can't get the trade, but they still have the points to show for it is the most important part. They may have gotten that kill, but he's still a little bit too careful with how he's playing this. He can't quite make it onto site just to make sure that he can get those kills, make sure he can get those that garbage time for his team.
I think that was a good spot to be, even though they're not really contesting and getting the rest of that scrap time. I think just by holding there and denying them from rotating away early, for those that were, it could have helped a lot, but that won't be helping a lot. Losing 2 players, Saint narrowly staying alive, but he is dead. I'm going to say that with confidence. No turnaround there. He has been taken down, and they have given up this objective. They spawn fairly close, though. They spawn into a position where they can repush it, and they will be able to with that utility. 1 already down, and now they can push with that number advantage. But Drew, I think, down to 2 in response. Still, Yokes manages to hold on for them and find 40 afterwards. Unreal play by him, and Saint has the spawn locked down. This could be a good point for final chapter.
And that's what's important here is making sure that you get the points when they matter. The EMP nade has gone out, and they have stalled things for the time being. But for right now, it's a waiting game. What more can they get? Well, wait a little bit too long, and I guess you get bullets in the back is what the Fixer is learning at this current point in time. 73 to 88.
Sorry, Kixer's shoes flew on screen, and I didn't want to commit to the bit because I didn't want to talk over you, so we'll just reset here on a hill with 18 seconds left. Last hill, once again, going to be the most important final chapter. Already have their feet firmly planted here. A big flip from last time. They're also getting the scrap time on the last hill, so a great position to be in, especially if they can catch Drew early, and they will. Drew walked into some crossfire, and the Halo's not really connecting. So much damage on Nash that he can't turn around, and they have to wait for their team.
Alright, seems like right now, 101 to 88. They are in control of the last site. This is a literal flip of what we saw happen last time around, when instead Red Notice were the ones that were in control here, tossing the C4 right there, just in case somebody tries to peek over or chase him past the corner. But it seems like that C4 won't really mean much. Seems like it gets melted in the crossfire here. Or it doesn't actually. It's still actually staying on the wall. It's still there. That gadget is not going to be enough to stop it for the time being.
Roll Company devs, you're breaking my immersion. You need to make C4 explode when you light it on fire, but still have the detonator in hand, I think. Gameplay-wise, I think that's probably the better way to do it. Goggles pop with not a lot of time left. That's going to make things significantly more difficult for Red Notice, as they're going to walk in with no info and all the info in the world in the other way. Joker doesn't peek at the right time, so Saint finds a free pick, and they're running out of time.
A bad opportunity gets picked at the wrong time, wrong spot, wrong opportunity. And that is going to be the cleanup. They have 15 seconds, though. They literally have one more opportunity, potentially, to step back on the site. It depends. 10 seconds remaining. I don't think anybody will be able to make it on. Instead, that round is already said and done. The points convert itself into a 1-1. Here we are. Will Red Notice be able to tie it up, or final chapter will continue their lead and make this a 2-0? Only time will be able to tell, folks, and I'm glad you're here with me.
Well, now we flip to the other side, so Red Notice should have the advantageous. If I'm remembering the spawns flipping right, they should have the better side going into the A hill. So that could be a great way to find their edge. 40, very focused.
Yeah.
Definitely smiling and laughing a little bit less than we were seeing yesterday. And again, I think that could be something that harms them in the grander scheme of things. I think they really need him feeling himself, because, you know, it's tough. Scorch a little bit lower on the scoreboard, someone who you, obviously, other than tanking the objective, you want to be able to win duels with that overheat. It's going to be important to have, especially with kind of some of the hero moments that Yokes has shown earlier in this segment. The first contest is coming out. Joker finds the first here again. Better spawn. Yokes trapped up forward. But Drew again winning that flank battle. That Lancer supremacy happening on the other side. And speaking supremacy, Joker establishing his dominance up front. All that utility connecting, and every second of this hill is going to Red Notice.
Possibly the biggest thing that I've noticed about today is the pure fact that evidently holidays move quickly. It's the 4th of July. The fireworks show is all over the place. He gets so many kills, a ridiculous amount of explosives actually go through, and that means that they have a substantial lead considering how the last round ended up going.
And even though they are going to get the rest of this time, likely they did lose a lot of their players that were kind of holding in the in-between. So B-Hill going to be held by Final Chapter, which is going to be their first ticket, it looks like, of the game so far. But the players coming from spawn do manage to get one. Saint, though, with a well-timed rotation, is going to get one. Just has to beat Drew here, and
Oh,
probably
stop.
not get stuck. I would
Yeah.
say that is the step one of how to hold this hill. Don't get stuck, don't flip the hill, don't give them all this time. That sticky sensor info is not important for them at all. Oh, he's on the hill, great. Good to know. We'll keep that in mind as we go to push and get back from this 55-point deficit with Joker on a cross angle.
Already ready to make sure that he's watching for any sort of rotation. Finding 2, especially this early in the point lead, is going to be pretty huge. The gap was already a big deficit. Now it's looking more like a chasm the longer this goes on. Tries to run through the fire and flame, sees if they can get the early pick just to stop them from capping the time. That's how much pressure is being applied on them. And we're all seeing that right here, folks. That's literally just what's happening, is how well they're actually playing a lot of these. Right around the corner, wasn't ready for Drew to be there either. And that means they have another site locked down.
Wow, Yokes actually trades out 2 here, though, so if the spawns are good, they might be able to contest. You can see the rest of them in the back there on their way to make a move here. Nash, though, does catch one on it, holding close on the hill. Can he win this gunfight? No, Spencer comes out on the better. They will start contesting it very soon. No time really gained for them at all. But look at this deficit. It's 98 points. Only now our final chapter going to be able to do it. And I know final chapter we're supposed to get a good night's sleep, but Joker just woke up. He is on another one in this game, and so hard to stop. We'll see how Drew can pair up with them clearly well enough, hitting up, but Joker finding another. Everyone on Red Notice's collapse is on the same spot, but Story ends up 2, does keep the point held down for now, but is going to need help soon.
Tries to see if they can find a way to move right back on in. Seems like 40 seconds remaining on the timer here. Joker trying to see if he can fly, but ends up rolling right on out. Not going to be enough. Motion sensor tossed out once again. They have the intel that they need. Trying to see if they can cook the nade. Tosses it out to the left, but instead goes a little bit wide. They have so many points in their back pocket. They know that the Phantom's back there. They have the intel necessary. They toss out the bounce nade. Not going to clear the left side, but instead she runs towards spawn. Spence is in such a bad spot. They have the cross, but the stem gets popped. They want to be aggressive here, but they end up chasing a little bit too deep into that scenario. Drew swings the corner, does manage to get the kill, 131 to 42. However, guys, final chapter are in control of the last hill. They have to break the hold.
I don't think it's an unbreakable hold, though. I think Final Chapter are in a good position right now. They have the cap. They have players set up in some places. We'll see the spike from Spencer has to be good. Joker spotted him. Joker's going to push him, and there's no way he's going to turn that one around. But that's not someone who's capping, so they still have to break through that hole, but they have the number advantage, and Joker finds another. He has been a force in the end of this factory, and that's probably going to be it. Unless their spawns are close, I don't know if they can make it back, and they're still going to have to run into 4 players, a full firing squad waiting on the objective.
Yeah, not going to be enough. Looking cool, Joker. Got to be honest with you. 144 to 60 is the best case opportunity that they have. They're trying to see if they can make it in onto the objective, but they're getting cleaned off. Dust your hands, boys, because once Yokes goes down here, he's going to stand up, pop off, talk all that smack, because we're going to a 1-1 tie. They have to kill them, right? Stop. No way. Wait, hold on. They sat back down. Okay, he's dead. Okay.
I was all done. Bait and breath. Bait and breath.
Okay.
Trying to see.
Just entirely making sure that was the case. They probably just know that that's the case. You know, that's what we're going to play it off as. Okay, they know Saint's still on the objective. They want to talk all that smack, get the kill. Now we're tied at a 1-1.
I was absolutely waiting for another catastrophic thing like we had yesterday where they won the game and then left. I was like, oh man, same map, same exact situation. I don't want to let that happen again. But they are focused. They knew he was there. They just wanted to stand up and again get that mental game set up. And what around that one was. I think both teams had their moments. I think Yoke stand out for me. I think Joker also a very clear standout for me. And even though he wasn't necessarily exploding in the ways that we've seen him do on previous maps, Drew was winning every fight on the flank.
Yeah, and I don't think there's really much of this that you can really complain about that. Drew, even though he was dying, some of the best things it is that you can do, whether you're looking at a duelist like this one, an entry fragger, whatever it is that you may call it, it's about creating space. That's more so about what it is, right? It's about creating that opportunity. There's a lot of times where Drew's running in and sometimes people are like, well, what's he doing? It's about drawing that attention away. Even if he is dead, the respawn timers are not that long, so he's going to try and see if he can find the opportunity to see if his team can really follow up on what it is that he's doing. He created a lot of space. You definitely can't complain about that at all. The rest of his team following up, understanding what it is they need to do, way even better. Honestly, that's the best team it is that you can ask for.
harder to watch an angle when you think you're going to have to watch the one behind you.
Exactly.
Right? If doubt is in your mind, it's hard to want to actually hard focus on an angle, especially if your sensitivity's low. You know, some of these players have lower senses. Someone's behind you, you're like, all right, I'm not on camera. I started turning really slowly, but you guys can't see me anyway. But you know, you slowly turn to go watch the other angle, and then the one you were watching initially suddenly gets pushed because they're communicating. They can maybe spot you. Your gun peeking out for just a second. All these little things you can take advantage of here. But a great King of the Hill played by Red Notice. We are heading into Demolition next, I believe, on Canal. So
yes.
I think whoever gets the first side will... the first defense will come off to an early lead, but again, it's a very strong defensive map, and these bans, I think, play into that. We've seen Glitch played here, notably Talon available. There are some really good dart spots here, especially on attack, but Anvil gone, so some of those shield plants, especially over on A, interesting to see kind of out of the picture, and Ronin Runway, I mean,
yeah.
Obviously. I'm pretty sure, let me double check, I think they banned Ronin Runway almost every game. I will.
Yeah. You have already spoiled the surprise, Chris.
It's not a surprise. It's a storyline. It's a storyline, not a surprise. I prefer to talk about it that way. And yes, Ronin Runway were their bans every single game. So they know what they're having trouble dealing with. They know what they think they might excel at on Final Chapter. So get rid of it as early as possible. Looks like Saint and Drew are exchanging some words between them. I have no idea what they could possibly be saying. I'm assuming they're trying to maybe talk some smack at each other's heads. But they were, again, two of the standouts for me going into this game. So one of them gets even the tiniest advantage over the other, that could be enough to push one team over the edge.
Yeah, they're feeling good about themselves, honestly. I mean, you really can't ask for a better opportunity than that. Showing the shirt.
Oh, it's happening. All right, Red Notice win. He's doing it again.
Showing the shirt once again. I mean, to be honest with you, like, that is exactly
how many shirts does this man own?
You need to be, okay. Also showing the shirt. They must all own the same shirt. Do you think, like, as Red Notice, they have to, like, they have, like, the same similar brand of shirts?
Inside Apparel is just, the shirt printed there is just going wild. They're like, all right, guys.
Just because it's time. It's
He's torn 40 of these already. We got express orders. We need it right back in there, and we need to get right back into the game. Number 3 tied up 1-1. Again, this is better than Red Notice has done against Final Chapter before, at least on stream. Exactly, I mean, in the bracket play, this is a map that they did not get the last time they met each other.
Asking if it could potentially be the best game it is we see today, I'm not gonna say if it is or isn't, more so just the fact that the thought has been put out there, and so far it's looking damn good. Like, I mean, I can't complain about this. I don't think anybody can complain watching about this. We're talking literally. Oh,
you know, Twitch chat, they could find something to complain about.
You are correct on that one. Maybe I should hold my tongue on that one, just wait with bated breath and see exactly how this next match is going to go. But Canal's here once again. It's interesting to be able to see this map every time because of how wide it is. The intel always plays a huge role, whether it's Talon, whether it's Seeker, whether it's Dallas.
And I have the veto, so I want to find out why this maybe went to Canals. I know the Red Notice said they literally always ban Windward. Final Chapter, excuse me, always ban. No, other way around. Red Notice said they always ban Windward, but Final Chapter actually banned Windward first.
Interesting.
So I guess they didn't know that Red Notice always banned Windward, so they gave a free ban up to Red Notice, who banned, for demo specifically, Palace. This is Red Notice's pick, coming in as the higher seed here from previous. Then after this, Vice and Favelas were banned. So neither of these teams wanted to go there. But Canal's a priority pick for Red Notice, so they got to be feeling, all right, they won the King of the Hill pick of Final Chapter. And now they're going into their picks for the rest of the series. From this point on, you know, barring map number 5, which is just the last one left, they're in their comfort zone. They're not starting on the better side here. They're starting on attack. So going to have to get at least a couple rounds here. I know if some teams have it more figured out, they can get off to an early lead, but again, I tend to lean the way of the team that starts on defense, and a decent comp they have here. Dahlia, Kestrel, Dallas, and Fixer. The only difference is a Chuck and a Saint on the other side.
Fingers have been snapped. And just to reveal things close by, Ash probably knows that there's at least one over on the right-hand side, but still nothing that's super crazy here. Obviously just waiting, stalling things out. They are already planning the bomb where? Oh, he's already in that corner. Have they? Oh, no, okay, no. They end up using the utility to force him back. They fall back and instead are waiting. They know that he's around that corner, and they're going to just stall and wait for the time being before they plant.
Util's at a premium here, though. They're using a lot of it really early, and it's just 40's just running around giggling. I mean, he's taken all this utility. I don't think they've spent anything. You can see that Dallas still holding the molly on the side. A lot has been used by Final Chapter already. He might just have a clean plant once they actually go in, and it looks like he's going to be going for it, but there's players holding fairly close. They could jump over at a moment as soon as they hear the audio. See if that flash helps them out. He's going to start the plant. Saint's willing to push. I don't think Joker spotted him, but he just rolled back. They have the cover, and they get this bomb planted effectively for free.
They see if they can at least force them back for the time being, but it's a little bit too late. Bomb's down, and Drew looking like a AFK NPC because of how long he's been waiting in the same corner to see if there's anything it is that he could possibly do, right? Not going to find anyone, but just always waiting, always watching to see if anything can actually go through. The Saint is there. They get so many kills. Saint pushes up on the right side as well. Joker is going to find that kill. That's the first game. The energy it is that you see on the left side right there, that's exactly what they need, because that's scary to have or to witness, is the fact of how well they're feeling themselves. You can't let teams be able to do that. Only one down on Final Chapter start.
And I think a little bit of nerves coming in there because they saw 40 there. I think they wanted to just be the one to hit it. So it's like, all right, throw my util. Rolls away.
Yeah.
Mollying him. Runs away. They didn't have enough people there on the molly to punish him when he rolled out into the open. And then when they tried to, maybe isolate someone on their push once the bomb had been planted, because they had nothing to equalize it, they just had, Red Notice had someone watching every angle that could possibly be a threat. I mean, if you watch that one back, it was an attempted 2v1, but they walked into 2 more people's sightlines in the back, a perfect crossfire on them, no one able to get away alive, and now they're going to try to play a little bit aggressively instead. Bounce nades here, but it's down on Story. Finished off as well, no chance to go for that revive. So, Dahlia's utility, or her ability, is just gone.
A little bit impatient in terms of making sure that they actually had the opportunity to make that ability go off, right? Use it immediately, but it's more so the fact that Kestrel was so far up so soon. Getting picked off that early, especially on a map that really plays into the defense's hands at times, is something you have to be concerned about. And the fact that they've already lost one means they can slowly push this one in. They don't have to be aggressive or nearly as aggressive as they need to. They can slowly just wait, play around certain corners. See, once again, this time, now we know that that's the case. He's putting the bomb down because he knows they're listening for it, right? And then getting them to play around certain angles. When the bomb went down, they peeked and then they died.
It's just so well done by them. I mean, this is some clinical attacking here, watching angles. We're not seeing double swings to counter them, and I feel like that might be hurting them. And now, I mean, why not just send your chalk in, right? He's just running in. This Dallas is like 50 health, have 40 run him down. He's got 150 HP, not a worry in the world, and Red Notice are feeling good about it. 2 almost perfect attacking rounds. Every time we watch this map in the past, it's always the same. A lot of the time, it's the same. Slow B push. We're going to go up. We're going to clear every angle slowly. We're going to play with a talent, and we're going to move the radar dart up an inch at a time and see exactly where everyone's going, and then we'll plan our trajectory to attack off of these vectors. All of that, but I think that we've seen that in all these CMG tournaments before. Shout outs to them for all the online tournaments they've done, and all the ones me and Fawn have been able to cover. So much good gameplay there, so make sure you tune into those VODs and anything else there is from them. But still excellent games there. But again, we see long, slow B pushes, and I've always been worried about how effective it is, but we're seeing it work here because they're watching the right angles. They're actually doing it right, and that's something that I feel like you don't see a lot on this map from attacking teams.
See if they can at least force their hand this time from a different angle. They've already they've practically gained control of Factory here. They're moving in through mid, realize that nobody's there because nobody has crossed, but he is watching for a rotation. They know that Story is crossing over. They have the comms for it as well. And Spencer being at least close enough by. They do manage to plant the bomb already. They realize the rotation has already been made as well. Now they're all backing up. Nash is in such a good spot. Oh, this could be dangerous. He's watching for a rotation right now, but at any point in time they make the call, they're like, hey, we need help. He could really just flake around behind them, but they may not even need it. Instead, they're just lighting them up. Everything. So many kills all at once. 3-0 for Red Nation.
I keep talking about momentum for Red Notice potentially, and I'm feeling it. I'm definitely feeling that momentum behind them right now. This is a different team from Map 1. I mean, they had their round wins in Map 1. They had some aggressive plays, but my God, they have just turned it on here on Canals, and maybe it's just a comfort thing. Maybe they should have just, instead of Palace, maybe they should have banned. Maybe they should have just banned Breach. A map that we keep seeing them go to. We keep seeing everyone go to, and it never seems to be good for that team. But again, that was the pick. Final Chapter. Final Chapter wanted to go there again. A map that they actually won this time, so props to them for that pick, even though they struggled there previously. But look at this scoreboard, Fawn. 1 down. Still.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We're 4 rounds in.
Downs, and then the biggest thing about it is that sure, that some people might be like, oh, well, there's 1 down. There's no eliminations. That's the biggest thing, right? You can get as many downs as you want to. That means that every time they're getting picked up, every time you knock them right back down, right? And that's something that you have to keep in mind. Understand that that's the case. Do they know that he's back there? Already great awareness, because look at where Dallas is already holding. Spencer doesn't want to creep up yet.
Snap might have found him actually. The snap might have caught him. If he was far enough back, that might have been exactly what it was, and the flank's been given away. And Saint, they know exactly where he is. Drew and Saint kind of a stalemate here. Nash and Spence and kind of a stalemate, but stalemates work better for the defensive team.
Yeah, they do.
They just need to buy time. So the longer they're going to stare at walls across from each other, the better it is for Final Chapter.
Attackers are always not to be favored when it comes to the time, especially if they have to plant the bomb, right? But the minute that you get that bomb down, that is your best friend. It is your ally. Nashi moves. Wait, oh, Nashi moved in? They had no idea. He was just watching for a flank, and instead, he ends up getting killed in the process. Joker in the back line managed to at least find 1 kill, but there's really not going to be, 40, excuse me. Not really going to be able to find much after. They're pretty much multi-swinging him. There's not much he's going to be able to do in the back line. They're nodding over, laughing at him, understanding that, yeah, you guys got us. They actually had no idea. You're right, Chris. That's a great thing to point out. He crossed over because he didn't know that Spencer was back there.
I saw Nash getting shot in the back, and immediately after seeing someone get flanked, I'm like, oh wow, did Nash just not calm that at all? Then I realized it was Nash. I was like, oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense that he's not paying any attention. If he just didn't know initially. He had the snap used early. I guess it was just ended up hitting a defender, and after they got revealed, they're like, all right, go. You have the timing. There's no way they know that you're there. And, you get revealed as long as you're not the furthest one back, they're not flanking. Or you don't know that he's flanking necessarily. So well played by Spencer there, who is going A. Once again, going to snap over there, just see if they're coming that way. A lot of information gleaned from the Dallas ability. And the rest of them just playing defensive. It's exactly what you expect to see, playing far back, looking to punish his angles. No aggressive play this time, but you're still forced to use some utility to clear it out just in case.
So far, they are trying to see if they can push up 40 on the chalk here. Making his rounds. They try and peek around the corner. He pops his ability a little bit early as well. Nashi does mess up the nade. And so that's going to be hard, having to deal with pushing on the site without the proper util. That's going to probably be one of the more prominent things that you have to think about. They are slowly making their rounds, or at least trying to see if there's anything it is that they can really do. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Most of them holding, watching angles, waiting, and playing passively for any moment that could be striked.
Yeah, there is you can tell how well they're holding back here. It's Saint watching this angle again, still trying to slow them down after that failed Insen initially, but no way to actually hold it back. They're not getting in here to actually get this bomb planted. They're still getting delayed, but they did force out a little bit more utility, kind of shades of round 1 once again. I know Story. Of course, here's the play going down. Does he find him? He's just spraying through, but can't find him. The bomb goes down. Does 40 get away with his life? He does, but Story gets down. They might just run in off this, but I think they're just afraid of what could be waiting for them, especially on this flank with Saint keeping an eye on it.
They have the bomb down. They definitely want to play patiently, and they already know that that's what they need to do, right? They're just waiting, watching. See, if anyone makes the first move, any twitch, anyone makes it towards the bomb, they're obviously going to try and capitalize on that. But for right now, it doesn't seem like that's what they're going for. They're playing the long con here. They got the bomb down. That's our time to really manipulate. They get another down on the Kestrel, and they do actually manage to make sure that things are going to be a little bit more dangerous. As time is slowly moving and manipulating their way forward, they get the kill onto Spencer and get the knock immediately. That is going to be the kill for them and make things a 4-1.
Yeah, very great start by them. Again, they managed to bait out a lot of utility early. It's just like that first round, as I mentioned, but they had to wait a lot longer. Final Chapter are figuring out, hey, that's what they're trying to do. That's what every team is trying to do. It's not anything really different for them, but you can tell them when they were holding back here. Final Chapter, though, we've seen how they adapted to that initial play there. I want to see what they're talking about now, how they're thinking about making any more changes down the line. We'll hear their comms.
I mean, I showed this, I think. Yeah, but still, like, can you do that? Go all the way? Did you go back both?
I got 2 and 2 Endora.
Call out the rogue you see,
You know
bro.
when you guys are revealed, bro.
Come on, I can't with this, bro.
Bro, why are you
I
using your
can't.
fixer ult?
That's bomb.
That's
That's
bomb.
bomb.
Where?
Bro, like,
other side of the map?
Yeah, it was over
Why
here.
do we
I'm
have
backing
a
up
Who's
off
in
that.
mid?
I'm backing
Who's
up
in
off
mid?
that.
Did you use your fixer ult?
again,
My
bro, it's the
buttons
third
are
fucking
massive.
time, bro.
That's
Just
why
wasted
Because
it
this
is.
shit
fixer
is
ult, bro.
bouncing.
I got revealed.
Like,
Yo, I got one long.
You got revealed, P?
I hear mini 8.
I got Nash
What?
on me.
Go far right.
One shot, swing it, P. He's
Pretty sure I
close,
had
close,
three
close.
long. Right to left.
Finish it. Get out.
Yo, I got one long. They're gonna aim me.
Snap. To see.
Get out.
One HP on me.
Go
See
up
him
on.
mid, look at mid.
I'm down.
Where? Saint running through mid.
He's on the other side.
There's one on site.
On
Site.
Nice.
Last two.
I get
try.
Yo, one more round, we win the game.
Dallas.
One more round, we win the game.
Why did they sit two at A?
I
They
don't
said
know.
they had two. So I snapped the Kestrel.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I heard a little bit of a taste between both of the teams' communications, and I think the biggest thing to point out there is literally the awareness and the communication of Red Notice compared to how we heard them on Breach towards the tail end of that, right? One more round, we win the game. It's that positivity, that communication. You still hear their spirits high, and that's what's important. They know how they actually end up need to play this game, and that's what they need to understand as well.
Although apparently everything I've ever known is wrong because the team that was clearly tilted and yelling at each other for fat fingering fixer ult is the team that won the round. So what do I know? Apparently, final chapter. Just keep spending fixer ults, get your team mad, and apparently they'll be mad enough to frag out. We'll see if that continues to pay off for him. Saint still holding that same angle, still lethal as Joker revealed. That is fairly far back, so it must be the Dallas kind of deep. They might know that as well. But Nash goes for his reveal. Finds the intel of the player on the left spotted, and they have decent clear so far. They're going to smoke fairly far forward. Saint still has the goggles up there, and he's actually in an interesting angle all the way on the far right. They might not know, but it seems like they're aware.
It seems like he's slowly trying to make his way
They
in,
do.
push forward. They know that Saint is there. They do manage to get the kill. How much more will they be able to find? Pushing it to the back line. Story is waiting so far back. He actually manages to escape with his life, and they are at least able to trade things 1-for-1. That Dallas is behind them. They aren't aware of the opportunity that he has. He's making sure that he's shooting into Nash. Joker is the next one that might fall here. They're pushing around the corner. Ensign just to try and see if they can pincer them. They might get the kill here. That is gonna be it. That's the round for them, boys. And that is how we are going to end our first half in a 1-for-1 tie of the Elimination Finals.
And that's not even the first time that Spence has done that.
Right.
And the one of the further people back got revealed. You got to think that maybe somehow, some way, he might be trying to find his way into your back line. But
Yeah.
either way, I think they were too distracted by the World War I trench warfare they were having, trying to push those people that are holding back behind the site. It's impossible. You don't know where they're going to pop out. They could be anywhere. They could see you from a mile away, but they just wanted to follow up on that pick on Saint, and it didn't end up working out for them in the long run. Comp pivot over here from Red Notice. We're seeing Talon, potentially, so maybe that same exact style of offense that I was talking about could be repeated here. So no, they're switching sides of defense, so it's going to be Talon on D if they do go that way, and that could be another way to check the flank, obviously. No Dallas picked up for them, and same on the other side again, so both teams pivoting away. Kind of interesting for a second half.
That does seem to be the case. Talon, Anvil, Fixer, Saint. On the opposite side, you have the Chalk, the Fixer, the Dahlia, and the Talon. Now, here's what's interesting to me, Kresnik. Here is what's standing out to me is the implication and the consistency of the play that we've seen Chalk actually reach. Chalk has been one of those characters that we've seen in the respawn game modes. We've seen him actually be utilized here in demo a couple of times. We've seen him be utilized for the most part at the end of the day, something that's going to keep him more commonplace, I should say. Like we saw it in the battle zone as well, right, earlier. Something that Blue consistently still talks about, and for a good reason. I mean, he does feel very proud about that. And since that's the case, that is going to have to be something that we keep in mind. But Chalk, I definitely think that it's very interesting to see him more and more because he's come out more now than he has for most of the 10Ks.
When I look back, I feel like you see him more in demo in the past. Right, when I think about Chalk, I think that's more probably pre-Weapon Mastery meta, when his SMG was good, and he just had flashbangs that not a lot of people could answer, because Anvil wasn't being seen maybe as much back then, but you saw Chalk, I feel like, a lot on Windward, and a lot on Vice. when you had him going in specifically as a bomb planter. I distinctly remember this because I remember watching Right Turtle, and my whole thing, one of my first casts, I was like, now, I might not know as much about Rogue Company as some of these other players, but I think your bomb carrier shouldn't be running into their backline instead of planting the bomb. And that was my whole thing for like 3 months. It was like the only thing I would talk about. So I remember Chalk played on demo a lot, played aggressively, played to get that bomb planted with that rage, or just to stay alive if dying to utility or getting down to utility during that plant initially. Flexible pick, I think, in that sense, also able to really push an advantage once you have it. You know, you get a rando Seeker bow hit. You know, think about Breach, and now what better rogue to int with 175 HP or 150 HP than Chalk?
Exactly. I mean, of course, we've been seeing something that's been sort of dabbled in and more consistently utilized is the inclusion of Saint or Dahlia on a Chalk-based composition, right? A Chalk-based team, because of the fact that it enables him to be more aggressive. He doesn't have to pick between the fact of, hey, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm either going to use my ability to make sure I can keep the aggression, or I'm going to end up using my ability to res myself if I get down, right? With that being the case, with Saint or Dahlia being a factor, he doesn't have to worry about that as much. He gets down, okay, Saint or Dahlia can pick him up, and he still has his ability. His back pocket, the regen happens, he becomes more aggressive.
Or just stacks it all.
True, you're right.
Down him like 3 times. You know, you saw some old school like cute hamster when they were a cute hamster. I'm not forgetting the name, I promise. Double res comps, that was always the thing we would talk about, where they had, you know, res is on the mind 100% of the time. It was kind of neat to see that them being played here. But we're repicking back in the rogue selection for this half. It is still going to be Talon, though, both sides. Fixer also locked in. It's Yokes and Spence is still up in the air. And Trench 40, I feel like we didn't just see Trench, but he's really excellent at holding down that mid-cut, and I think that could be pretty good for them.
Yeah, and I think this is them sort of could be changing things up just for the moment. May have been a little bit of a misselection, right? Might just try and go back and see if they can actually change things up. How the game has been going so far, but once again, Chalk, here we are, Chalk, Dahlia, Talon, Fixer, Dahlia, Trench. Almost a complete mirror.
Fun. I miss Cannon. I miss seeing that smiling face on the picks here. Just saying. Just saying going into that, but just letting everybody know on that HUD up top, Red Notice is going to be up 4-3 going into this. We had a little bit of a reset to maybe change some rogue selections here, but we're still going in, still going to be the advantage here, as you can see on the handy-dandy graphic right on the right side of the screen.
Absolutely, yeah. That is going to be the current score line. That is how the half ends and how we're getting right back into this. This time is taking its toll on some of these players. I can see one of them had their legs up and just sort of like sitting back, chilling, just waiting, seeing if they can just sort of take their time to do whatever it is that they can, right? But here we are. Once again, the sides have been swapped. Final Chapter are on the attack here, as Red Notice are on the defending side.
Yeah, if they're getting tired, maybe just take a nap under the PC. I've done that at a LAN before. Funny enough, had to nowhere to go. No hotel when last time I was at a BYOC, so I slept right under the table, got woken up by a League of Legends player at 6 a.m. that was showing up. Didn't think I would ever tell that story on broadcast, but I felt like it was relevant here, but not relevant to the action on screen at the moment. Barbed wire to deny any pushes from them a little early on the C4, baited out once again. It's going to be a similar style to how the other team was attacking on their side when Red Notice was trying to push the issue and just bait out everything, but it looks like a little bit more patient maybe with that is Red Notice.
We talk about patience, and like, look at these guys. Like, they are really just waiting, spraying through the smoke as best as they can, but they do have to retreat for now. Fixer getting lit up. Spencer does find the shots in the back, but not before Nash manages to trade a couple blows for his fallen comrade. Fixer does get killed, but there are so many people that are actually low behind that crate. They cannot peek. They can't do what they might want to. Story gets brought low once again, but still no definitive kill yet. They push on the left side, and it makes things a lot harder for Trench to play around that. There's only 2 of them remaining so far, and here they are. Nashi brought low. Trench still holding on as best as he can. This is a 2v4 because they're just going to go and pick up the Fixer. It's going to be hard for them to try and play this retake.
Jet-powered Dahlia in the background, not going to distract them enough from the action in front of them. Still have to deal with a couple numbers disadvantage. And this bomb is getting way closer. Plus, they have to cross the entire site. They have to move now. The bomb's planted so far back, but they're just afraid to go. I think they might be making the right call. Maybe they just run away. Maybe they just don't give them that extra cash. Maybe. They try to get some kill on them, but they're not going to commit to it. They're just going to back up and try to keep the pockets as even as possible.
You see, like right now, 40 is playing around the corner. He is just going to wait. He's not going to go for the kill or anything of the sort because of how close by his teammates are. Now, once again, the score was 4-3 with Final Chapter taking that next game. The score is now tied at 4-4, just to let you guys know.
Yep, dead even heat now. Final Chapter having a excellent play here. They get ready to drop back out. How are things going to change going in? Oh, speaking of taking a nap,
yeah.
One of the blanket boys over there on the chair.
Boys.
He is knocked out and ready. He's like, I'm waiting for grand finals, but this is where he should be wide awake for. This is a real exciting game so far, and exciting. Speaking of exciting, mixing up strats a little bit, going right back to A. Do they have the read? I mean, we see Nash over here. We're assuming he has the dart up somewhere, and the pivot's coming in now. You can see Drew on the rotation. He'll probably get up top to get an angle onto where they might be doing the bomb plant, and everyone is about to meet them. And Radar Dart gives them all away.
Still have to abide and wait for their time. They want to wait for the util. That's what they're holding on to. The chance of hope here. Playing on the left side, same as before. But this time they have somebody playing on side in case anybody tries to make it on there. Just as before. Firing a little bit from his blaster over there. Things are becoming a little bit more slow.
It's one.
They are going away. That is util. They burn the util, and it seems like things are going to go a little bit more towards the way of Final Chapter, since they ended up burning that util.
What if they cut? I was gonna say, what if they obviously know that they're rotating back now, right? What if I they had cut back through mid and just tried to catch them on the rotation, but they've been read like a book. Joker catches Saint, gets them crawling on the floor. They got to play for the res, and they have to waste time that they. Look at that clock up top. They do not have the time that they need to make this work with all the patience that happened over on A.
They don't have another 20 seconds. And here's the thing, is that even if he does start to plant the bomb, they could just rush him. But it doesn't seem like that's what they're going to do. I mean,
they would have died. They would have died if they rushed him.
They would have, but still, it's about burning the timer. And if you get him down, then that means that somebody else has to step onto the objective to grab the bomb that he just dropped, right? Or somebody has to go and pick him up. Now they have to play the game of Final Chapter. They try and swing the corner. It's going to be a little bit too late. Yokes does get brought down. Nash, the same thing. As things are not looking too good for them for the most part. They do get brought down thanks to Drew, but they do get killed. That was literally their moment. That's exactly what I think they had to go for. Sure, they may have had the trades, but that is more important than what I would imagine.
Yeah, for sure. And it puts them up to that 5-4 score line, so only 3 more needed to end this round, and being on a fairly good side for it as well. I think it was an excellent kind of punish to that positioning that they had near the end of it. As we take a look at them again, ice cold. Last time we heard their comms, they were maybe struggling a bit, at least a little bit frustrated with how it had been going so far. But again, attacking on canals, these teams, now that everything is on the line, is it nerves for the defenders? Is it just the strategies coming out now that they've been running in scrims? I would say that, but I'm pretty sure Final Chapter barely scrimmed. From what I saw on, I think it was Stories Twitter is correct, they really didn't have a ton of time to do that here. So here they go, clearing out the area in front of A slowly. I mentioned this is how you approach a lot of these different sites with a Talon. He doesn't have the bomb. He might just be making noise to try to make them think that the bomb's coming this way, and it might be working. I see a lot of red moving pretty quickly over to the left. If they can get in before Joker makes the call, that could work excellently.
Seems like right now that things are moving slowly towards the opposite site as things are becoming a little bit more dangerous for the team right now. They do realize that obviously they have been faked out. Spencer trying to see if he can at least put the bomb down, still waiting for an opportunity. And they do find good damage onto him. One of them crosses over, tries to throw out the C4, and he tried to respond with the barbed wire. That is definitely not the play.
I think they know that Saint's here. Is it worth to commit to maybe punish Drew when he peeks to risk getting naded? But it looks like, never mind, guess so. Because they rotated away. Now he's going to back off. I think he probably hears some people walking over. The timer pretty far down, and he avoids all the damage. But 40 gets it down with the trap. with the trip mine there, that is going to hurt a lot, but still equalized right away. One more player down. They push in. Drew doing so much here. It's only the Dahlia left. It's only Yokes, and they can see him through the smoke. So no matter how much time is burned away, we're back to a dead heat. I believe it is 5-5.
They do actually manage to make this tie work for them. My goodness, a consistent back and forth game here is what's been happening right between Red Notice and Final Chapter. That has absolutely been crazy. That's wild. You know, like that is really, they're showing up. And this is not even the final game. This is to break the tie they currently have.
Oh man, you're right.
like this is to break 1-1. This isn't to win the game. This isn't to win the set. This is literally just to make sure that they have things in lieu for the 4th game or the 5th game if things are going to go how it's been going.
These teams are so evenly matched, and I think if I remember correctly, I think Final Chapter were kind of predicted to be that 4th seed coming into this, if I remember Blue and Rome. So if they manage to win this set and make it to those grand finals against Public Hamsters, a huge upset for them, huge story they can hopefully take with them moving forward. C4 though, Nash has the read this time, figures they're going to change something up. So Nash finishes one off, tries to run away, and survives. There's no chance he gets out of that one, and he gets another. And they can't push him. Yokes can't push him because they have the crossfire, so he's still holding there. Yokes goes down to do it. It's only Spencer left. What a disaster. Everything on that offense falls apart on the back of Nash, who picks up a ball.
What a man to be able to play that. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense. That's exactly how we played that. What happened last time that we saw that, everybody? The last time we saw Talon slowly inching his way forward, trying to make noise, trying to cause a bit of a diversion. But here we are in this scenario where this time Nashi plays up. Not only does he make it out because he lowers another member. That's why the trade didn't happen, guys. He lowered somebody else down one, lowered another, and they couldn't peek him even though there were 3 people there because they were worried. The flashbang and him getting shot running away was what happened after they had the regen, what happened after they had that opportunity to try and play this retake. This is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and right now, I believe it is 6-5 as the overall scoreline, so 3 rounds needed for Final Chapter, only 2 more needed for Red Notice, sitting at those 6 overall rounds before the initial remake here in Final Chapter. They said, all right, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Let's change the pace a little bit. Let's go somewhere else. But Nash, look at this. He's pivoted from being all the way over to playing over near mid. It looks like they might have an idea that he's playing over there. I feel like he's a little bit closer, but he could risk, if they push up, they could risk the same flank that Spencer was doing in the last round. He might be able to play aggressive and really just run up on them if they try to get in quick on this B site.
Nade gets tossed out, but the APS actually stops 2 different forms of util. They toss out the Talon dart as well, the radar dart, excuse me, boxing it up with the tripwire, but not enough. You set off the nade, breaking all the APSs. The nade is enough for Joker to get 2 different downs. Drew pushing forward, has the smoke, but gets down anyway. They have to be able to pick up their teammates. They're all in that same corner. Instead, he rolls back to his team. Talon is such a good spot. The C4 is going to find one. They won't find the second, but they do get another down. Drew wins another fight, and they will be able to hold on to this site despite everything. They roll around the corner. They're trying to see if they can find what they can. C4 tossed out and gets another down. That's 3 downs and 1 member remaining. Red Notice are fighting their way to a potential victory to break this tie.
And 1 round away from ending this map. What a performance there by Drew. I mean, saving them near the end, narrowly surviving. Kudos to Saint, who almost made it work there, even down numbers in an unreal way. I mean, a little bit of beef from the last member alive, and suddenly that's like almost a 1v4 that Saint manages to win, so he keeps it real close. His arm's pretty close to his team, and I guess it doesn't have to matter about the keyboard space. He's playing with that, tack shooter, keyboard tilt.
Right.
But he's kind of getting up in Yokes' space right next to him with the keyboard, to be honest.
And for those of you just to put that out there into the ether, you got to realize the score is now 7-5.
Yes.
That is the current scoreline. Red Notice are literally on their way to breaking this tie. They have a lot of rounds ahead of them. Joker finding a good early nade that is going to be the lead that they might need just for the time being. 3-2, 7-5 for 7-5 is the current score line. That I keep trying to reiterate that this is absolutely insane.
Luckily, it's on screen. So
Yeah,
now
thankfully,
we don't need to bring it up again. 7-5 again. Red Notice with advantage here and a pivot maybe from the attackers. It looks like they might be shifting away, trying to keep it really quiet. But you see Nash kind of in that middle. We don't know where that dart is. Where he's going to get that info here, but he finds Nash, and that might keep him trapped. But they also know now.
Yeah.
That means Story rotated over. That means Story is in a position to throw that dart. So maybe it's a fake, maybe they pivot. It seems like they are confident in where they're going to be coming in here, especially with 40 kind of playing that mid area, playing by that cut, and not letting anyone play that rotation.
Yeah, Trench has the fortress set up. They're trying to stop those APSs from getting broken, but even still, they are at least going to be able to back up in time. Being tossed out the nade, Chalk pops the but two of them swing behind. They might be getting pincered right now. The kills are checkerboarding, but 3 downs already for Red Notice. This is what they need. Yokes is being pushed. They get cooked up and served. That's going to be 2-1, and now Red Notice are on set point against Final Chapter.
I was going to say Yokes is pretty sick, but I don't know if he's 1v4 or 1 HP 6. So no chance there for the end. A flawlessly timed flank from Nash and 40 coming in from that cut, just saying, hey, listen, they're trying to deal with their APSs. I'm pretty sure they're just deciding to not deal with it anymore. I think they're giving up. I don't think they're going to actually try to push it in. I don't think they're going to try to push us out. I think they're going to maybe do that pressure, make us want to back up, and then try to send it up main.
Right.
Nash had him read like a book. Perfect timing, coming right in, completely dismantling the push. That round, I felt like on Canals and that map in general, the attackers were doing much better than we expected, but flawless flank timings from the defenders on both sides show why you want that side.
And that's probably the single most interesting thing as well, right? That is called, for those of you that are watching this, may not be familiar with esports lingo, may not be familiar with some FGC lingo, that's called conditioning, my friends. That's literally exactly what that is, right?
I didn't know what you were getting at first.
That is called conditioning, because think about it every time those APSs were set up right.
Yep.
APSs get broken, 40 backs up, 1 round. APS gets broken, 40 backs up, a 2nd round. This time there's 2 of them watching the APSs in mid by factory. A lot of that time, there was a lot of different mid contesting that was going on, but here we have a situation where not only when does it get broken, then they're both ready to swing.
Another big part of that was they spotted Nash further away before.
True. Yes.
So they're thinking, I think the reason they went as quickly as they did was in their head, they're like, all right, Nash is in a spot where he could flank us. He could do the Spencer wide flank all the way back around. They say, all right, we got to send it. Like, we got to go. So let's quickly pressure 40. Let's quickly make the move up front. That was the nail on the coffin, because Nash read that one, rotated back over, and then they both came in again, as we're saying. The conditioning in both ways pays off. They almost conditioned themselves with the aggressive flanks that Spencer was doing, because they're like, I don't want that to happen to us. We got to go.
Almost. That was definitely a close quarters game the entire time. That was one of those games where if you've been watching, if you've been paying attention, this was literally a situation where they end up getting outplayed. It's about strategy. Everyone here is playing chess, but get your snacks, get your drinks. Make sure you guys are ready to see more after this break. Welcome back in. the very, very last game it was that we just witnessed on Canals was a nail-biter. Hopefully you guys didn't go away or too far for too long, because we're heading right back into it once again in a moment, as the next map we will be looking towards right now is Palace. As you can see the scored line above, or at least I should say on the right-hand side of the screen, 8-5 is how Final Chapter started things off, but based off of what we were expecting by now with how the previous matches have gone, technically by all means and purposes based off of statistics, Red Notice should have already been lost. They should have already gone home. Final Chapter definitely took it to them yesterday, but now here we are in a situation where it's 8-5, and now Red Notice have won 2 games and are now currently on set point to advance to the Grand Finals.
Now listen, I have seen Final Chapter win 3 maps against Red Notice before.
Yes.
They were in a row last time.
Yes.
Not going to be this time if they do make it. They've clearly shown that they have the stuff, and this is when the pressure is really on again. Literal match point, set point against them, but they've also turned that around against Antimatter Gaming. They had one of the best games they've ever had in the final match against them. So they can do it, but can they do it against opponents like Red Notice, who have been making a bit of a tear through that losers bracket after their initial game and are looking confident and clean on Canals at the very least, and they just have to do it on one more demo even if they can't win the next respawn.
That's one of the biggest things you have to understand, is that these emotions are high. These strategies have to be optimized. They have to be ready to make sure that their drafts are already said and done. But the biggest thing is the mentality. These players are going back and forth, and they are close games, by the way, mind you, everybody. Close games, close together. It's that much more difficult to try and deal with when you are looking at things from this perspective. It's dangerous. That's just how that is. You have to make sure that if you're not prepared, if you're not ready, if you haven't been at LAN before, that you've got to really be able to understand and piece together that this is the mentality you need. You need the drive. It's about drive. It's about power.
Don't you even start.
We stay hungry?
No.
I mean, he's trying to devour, clearly.
He is.
Yes.
I'll admit that, but
right.
God, you won't get me to say it.
But I mean,
we'll not be doing that
to
one.
be honest with you, he has put in the work and put in the hours. And they will take.
Honestly, I'm just impressed you know the thing. I listened to the first 2 lines and closed it. I mean, shout out to him, but definitely not my cup of tea in that sense. Palace, getting away from that as far as we can possibly get in one sentence. This is the pick of Red Notice.
Right.
Because it's a later pick in the bracket. You know that the 3rd and 4th maps are always going to be what the higher seed wants. So even though Final Chapter managing to win, they win their demo pick, but they lose Red Notice's demo pick, and now we're in the King of the Hill pick of Red Notice. It's got to be boding pretty well for them. Again, I think Final Chapter can do it, but it is not going to be easy, especially with out to the wire. This map we've seen I think that Final Hill is pure chaos.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Red Notice might actually be kind of thriving in that environment.
Exactly, and I think that's what's important too, right? I mean, like listening to, well, before we even get into that, take a look at the bands here. Anvil, Mac, Runway,
the ones I spoiled.
Anvil, Mac, Runway, Vi. Now, interesting. Mac banned out once again, because remember, demo, King of the Hill, demo, King of the Hill is what we're going back to. They don't want to deal with that Mac, and we've seen the prevalence and potency that both him and Anvil have had throughout a lot of these matches. You definitely don't want to keep that in mind for the next few respawn game modes you have to. Drew reaching out his hand for a fist bump. He almost got left hanging. I saw that. That camera's literally right there almost, but they are ready. Their spirits are high. They're ready to take this to move on to Grand Finals.
And get that extra 1K they can split between all of them. And yep, Vimac, Runway, Anvil, as the notes said.
Yeah.
As my notes were actually flipped earlier, so I gave away these bans a little bit before because these players, again, make these bans ahead of time, which means they have to be prepared. They have to know what they're going to be playing on these maps.
Right.
On all of them, basically, and we'll see how that preparation pays off in the 4th map of this series. Could be the last one if Red Notice managed to close out their own pick, but Final Chapter. Am I going to make the joke? Is this their final chapter? Could this be the last one?
I don't know, maybe.
Or is there going to be an epilogue of a map 5? They could maybe close out the last map remaining Hollows.
They could put they could put a pin in this one, or they could be the authors of their own destiny in this one. It really just depends. It depends on how they proceed from this point on, right? The Fixer, Scorch, Kestrel, Dallas is going to be locked in. I was holding my breath on that one and being like, okay, is he going to go with Scorch, Dallas, Kestrel, Lancer? This is potentially the last map that we could have. Potentially. This is the draft that Red Notice have locked in. They're ready to go In Final Chapter, they don't want to take this one's lying down. There's no way. Not with their performance yesterday, not with how well they were playing. And even still, if Red Notice do end up winning the set, they aren't out of the woods yet, by the way.
No,
they have some monsters to fight in the grand finals.
And they got to be ready for that. They can't expend all of their energy here, but they also can't let that stop them from really sweating it out on this and closing it out as quickly as possible to conserve that energy for those grands if they make it here. Little note, I think the last time we saw this map played, there was Mac. There was two Macs standing on opposite sides of that hill, making it tough to kind of contest it both ways. But I mean, both of us, can they close it out here? I mean, I'm thinking they can. It's their pick.
Yeah.
And they were looking solid the last couple of maps. I mean, fine, let me know what you think, and hopefully the chat's letting us know as well.
Can Red Notice actually end up closing this one out? That is an interesting question to be able to pose. With how potent they've been throughout this set, it seems like they possibly could. And you get an early kill on Yokes, or at least an early down, and things are looking more your way. But Lancer already playing on the top side. Simtex thrown out, seeing if she can push the Kestrel around the corner. Doesn't find the kills necessary. He does end up winning the fight. If Story was not there to get that cross, then they would have lost that.
Yeah, for sure. They had the angle set up ahead of time, but that's just teams that know the map, right? In Final Chapter are starting off fairly well. They've won this initial engagement because of that aggression from the Lancer up top. It's what you need your Lancer to do. You said it yourself. It's that entry fragger. It's the one that's distracting you, turning your head, making you look in multiple directions, and just taking advantage of the way that the character just plain works. Now they're setting up for that B hill already. No, they will not be able to deal with that A. Gonna have to give up all that scrap time. Give almost a 50 and a player hide, and that's 40 with the overheat. Popped Drew following up as well to give them another early advantage.
Still keep in mind that they have not gained a single bit of no points. They're starving, hungry. There's nothing that they've been able to gain at all. Exactly. So they can devour. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. With that being the case, they have moved on to the next objective, with this being the B site for this King of the Hill match. And they are getting good kills. They're finding a lot of frags on the way in. A hill did not seem to be their environment. They know that Saints in the corner. They will be able to get the trade there. And this is going to be, for the most part, their hill. It's hard for them to even try that they can to retouch here, if they can recapture. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the case.
I feel like they set two players to catch rotations, and then they have two maybe trying to isolate those who are hanging out watching other angles like this, with Joker holding over here, with Yokes running past him right there. A great catch by Joker, who is holding by this way, but B Hill contested. They are fighting it right now. Fawn at 40 down. B-Story might maybe make his way in.
And this is something that you have to keep in mind. The biggest thing that you have to be sure to do is make sure you listen into these comms literally right here.
There's two playing for me bottom middle.
Saint, get off hill. Get off hill.
Like,
yeah, one sec.
Back up.
They're above me. I'm gonna flank. I hear one.
Dead.
I'm flanking left.
More on the right, I think.
Where they at? I can kill this kid on hill. I can kill this kid.
There's two here. There's two here. Weak.
I spawned out.
Saint, you just have to play your life.
Oh, what the?
Nice.
That's one. Stay alive.
Do that.
Nice.
Two.
Nice.
Alive.
Yo, they're spawning roof side, one roof side.
I'm gonna go pick that up.
Above me.
Pick that up.
He didn't cross yet. Yokes, you can get on the roof. He's just holding this angle.
Yeah, we keep pushing this out for spawns. Yo, he fucked up his molly. Two middle.
He's right here
One
on ping.
One dropped. You got a free kill there. I'm dead.
Another one on bridge.
Gotta play hill. You're leaving hill.
On bridge.
Hill points.
One's on the roof with me.
He just shot me from the roof.
We traded.
Joker's here?
Yo, just need to push out. There's 30 seconds on hill.
He's in the corner. He's 3-ping. Left corner now. Come on, we have to take this.
We're good. I'm holding this for points. You guys should go wide. Spawn.
Alright, we got him fine.
Oh, come with me.
He's close.
Yeah, they're already on the roof.
I got two roof.
One above me.
Oh my god!
3 dead. Set up on nuke. Everybody fuck out of here. 4.
Nice. That's just fun.
They flip, right?
Last tell.
Mash, watch the door to my left. I'm watching the
I'm watching middle. We need to call where they spawn.
On me.
Where's on me? Okay.
Hey, look, this is the setup we hold.
Yep, I got middle.
I have middle. Go behind.
I have middle.
Watch behind.
I'm revealed.
Go behind. Watch behind.
It's fine.
Watch my back. Whoever's on roof. Joker, watch your back.
Okay.
I'm EMP from mid.
He's here. Dead. Got him flanked.
One shot.
Got him.
Both on me. Nice. Scorch just one shot in the cut. 3 dead. Good call.
All four.
Good shit. Alright, I'm gonna pick a middle. They flip. They're gonna spawn fucking offense side. Offense.
Yep. They're going mid. One's going mid. Two going mid.
Shit it on. Let's go. One middle.
3 mid.
Castro's middle.
He's one. I can't see.
He's still middle. He's still middle. He's hiding behind the wall.
There's two on me. Two on me, bottom.
I'll pick up short, Joker. Turn around, Joker. Turn around. I got middle. I got mid-cut.
Two on me, bottom.
I gotta get the top. Oh, he's up top.
Oh my god, he's up top.
I got him.
Yeah, another one up top.
He's up top. One's on the roof. Last one on roof. Revealed. Kill him and game's over. Game's over. Good job, that's it. GG's.
Nice.
Every shot.
Enemy secured the objective. Shake it off.
That is just, hey, sometimes it be like that. That's the best thing it is that you can say. Sometimes
shout outs to the audio team. I heard, let's, and then nothing. So I think that was one of the fastest slams on a mute button I've ever heard.
Hey, you timed that with Lancer up there, actually, when you did that.
Well, they can't see me, so it's irrelevant. Well, it's fine. But shout outs again, saving everybody in chat from whatever was about to just happen to their speakers or their headphones. That is basically what I did. They used that audio team. Shout-outs for that one once again. But rolling out Red Notice, they were in control. They were talking to spawns. They were thinking ahead. They were thinking proactively. Yes. I love to hear that, especially at this stage.
Yeah, here we are, 1-0. That's what you have to be. You have to be proactive. You guys ever wonder what pro-level comms sound like or high-level comms? This is it.
Yep.
And the thing is that they're not flooding the comms. Don't do that. Like they're not unless it's something positive.
Watch behind.
Watch behind. One behind. That could be the meme for the next, I guess, few weeks or whatever the case may end up being. But as for right now, what a good angle. I haven't actually seen him. I haven't seen that fight actually go through half the time.
Oh, we share one
or at least that angle be the case. They do actually end up pushing in and getting the kill there. But we saw what happened last time. They didn't do too well on this A hill, and now they're still trying to see if they can actually force and see what they can do here.
Yeah, they had a rough A hill, they had an excellent B hill, they had a tough but contested C hill, and then ran away with it on D because they were thinking about spawns, they were thinking about getting in their way, they were thinking again about working ahead of time. Drew in their head with that C4 and knew exactly where he was going to be holding to cancel him out. Also, again, they're expecting that rotation. They see that they're going to be crossing, they're trying to stop him from getting in, and he spotted Spencer. That's a big part of it. Knows that someone's rotating over and that he's not there to help Story.
Good stuff to be able to help out 40 as well. They move their way in. Insist's not going to be enough because look who's in the back. It's Joker. Always gotta be mindful of where people are at. Always have to be more cautious about that. They swing again. Look at how more proactive they're playing.
Soccer rules do not apply. He just gave that bounce nade a header. To knock it away from him. Shout-outs, the cranium of steel, keeping him in the game on this one. And Drew, speaking of in the game, okay, we're laughing about that bounce nade hitting his head. He is literally shredding right now.
He's tearing him up.
Saint can't even fight him, narrowly gets him. He's like, I want to keep the streak going, res me. He waits a second before he actually goes down because his team is sitting on this hill. They are rolling it, and they're going to start shifting over to C already. Nash is setting himself up.
And that's one of the hardest hills to end up holding as well. I mean, maybe not as hard to end up holding as that grenade. I mean, I guess based off of the impact it is, that actually hit his head.
We were past it. We were past it,
no,
Fawn. You went back.
That's so funny, though. That's so funny. That's so funny to be able to see that. With that impact of it bounce off his head like that, it's a bounce nade. It should have blew up. Sure. If his head's that hard, but that's neither here nor there. Story does manage to find the kill and gets the down. Spencer will follow up soon after that as well. This is the hardest hill to actually take back. We've seen this hill not really go either way. It's typically whoever's on it has an easier time holding it, and that's how it goes. But back and forth last round, it makes it that much easier because of, look at actually the flank. They know that Yokes is back there. They force him through the gate and through the doors, and that way they actually make it that much better. The timing to watch the stairs, they force to see if they can have somebody swing, to see if they can cover Yokes, but it's not enough.
A big part of it, I think, was the trigger discipline. The fact that Joker didn't shoot Spencer immediately when he was watching him at a distance, so he was able to get that sneak up on Yokes, who was holding on sight. And my God! I was going to talk about Joker at the end of this game, but Drew reminded us why he is here, why he is a phenom, and listed at 6th on Rome's power rankings. Shout out to Rome BMB.
Spencer swings around the corner, sees if he can find the kill. Saint TK, not enough. TK is exactly what this will mean. Time to kill. TK, time kill. If anything. That was such a bad segue. Don't even worry about that. We're going to move on past that one. I'm just super excited. I'm so glad that this is exactly what's happening because this is not what we were expecting.
The final chapter of the D hill. this is the make or break for this
absolutely.
map. I mean, I guess you can say that for any map, but this one in particular seems like a very hard one to go into because you can see them from so far away. You can call that out. You have such wide sight lines, and it's hard for them to sneak up on you and take advantage. Story, not going to take advantage. Not going to take advantage of. He has a perfect angle, finds 240, does get one in trade, but again, every single person they get, another one replaces them, and their spawn is not going to be far away. You're going to spawn pretty close to your team. You're going to spawn close enough to get back to the hill, and they are a mile away. Final chapter have already flipped it. They've taken the lead once again, and it's up to the crew on Red Notice. If Joker and Drew, they have been popping off this game. What can they do here? It's Drew on the crossfire. Joker's got to force them into his angle.
That's what it seems like they're trying to do. They're slowly making their way in. They have to be able to hold it. Story manages to get the early kill, though, but the fact that he did, C4 tossed out, not going to find the kill, but does find the damage. Spencer down. Joker swinging around the corner. How will they manage to retake this one? Story knows that he's there taking a one-on-one fight. The counter strafing back and forth is too much for them to be able to stall out. Nashi around the corner loses the trade there. 4 seconds remaining, which means that that's 4 seconds until this round is over. That is going to be a 1-1 tie so far. And now here we are, Kresnik. Chat, everybody, we are now on the final round to see if Red Notice take this or final chapter tie it up.
I think my curse caught up to me.
The commentator's curse?
No, I have a curse that I don't think I've mentioned before.
You
Every game I cast is as long as it can possibly go.
Okay. Oh.
Since I left Atlanta Fun, every game that I cast goes the distance. It doesn't matter. I thought I left it behind in New Hampshire. Nope. It just made it. It just made it down here. And I think that means we're maybe seeing a game 5. But we're seeing a side flip. Red Notice won on this side before. They could be able to close it out. They should be able to close it out if things go the same. For me, looking at this, I know that D-Hill's been important. The first team that gets there seems to hold it the whole time. Whoever wins that B-Hill seems to be the one in a much better position.
But look at 40, Nashi, both of them working together. 2 separate downs, 2 separate kills. The whole Fireworks crew coming through. You may not be able to see the screen, but you at least know what the aftermath is. He's done, and so is this hill for the most part. They can't make it back in. On the way in, they're trying to play this recapture time and time again. 30 seconds left. You might have to give it up, honestly.
Yoke's playing it pretty here. Yoke's getting hit with every single piece of utility in that corner, just getting torn apart. But again, that's a lot that they don't have now for a little bit. No runway in the picture. I'm not going to talk over this one. Joker sneaks up right on Saint with 15 seconds left. He needed to be there. He needed that position for this B-Hill. It's so crucial. Can Story make up for it? Can he find Nash? Not this time. And he can't even find Drew. It's a trade, but he needed that positioning.
And that's the thing, though. Spencer does manage to get the kill, and they are watching from mid 35 to 6. All those fights happened before the objective was even spawned. And now both teams, because of their fights, have to make it to the objective and see who can have the more superior control. They may be on it for now, but this is how it starts off every time. A-Hill never goes as well. Swings around the corner. How are you still losing this fight? That's the 3rd time that somebody's been watching mid.
It is the Joker Drew show right now for them. An unreal performance from these two. They want to go up against Public Hamsters in the grand finals. And Drew serve up a nice heaping stack of pancakes right now. 1 down, close by. Spencer on the push, a little bit too close, but 40 with that trade, with that answer, holding here on the hill. Yokes wants to fight him. It's Scorch on Scorch. Fire ain't gonna help you. Yokes the first one to push, and Yokes the first one to get the kill, but there's only 20 ticks left on this hill they can get. C has to be in their mind. It's an easy transition over there, but Red Notice might already be set up.
39 to 56 is how this should end. They get the kill almost instantly. The instant nade is enough to try and see if they can control this. C-Hill pops the ensign, tries to pop the flame. Joker manages to at least finish off one of the kills, jumps across, and they will be able to clean this one up. Dust your hands off. They're already on the objective, but it is being contested. They were at least able to make it there in time to stall things out, because the most important thing is not about who controls the hill. It's about stalling things as much as you can, because look at how this setup is. Him winning that fight means that they now are in control of C-Hill. They force him back with the ensign. They do manage to back up, but they're still not dead yet. They can't swing. They get the one on the flank that would have had to cross.
You just can't do it. You cannot push this angle. You can trade lives all you want, but they're going to keep racking it up because their best position is back here far away. It's watching that from a distance. The other team's position, final chapter, their best position on that one is to stay close, and this is going to be the most important fight of the Drew. You can't lose those. 30 seconds left on the timer for this hill, but it's going to be contested the whole time. You have to start thinking about the positioning on the D hill. And now they're not going to have it. They need to rotate over. It looks like Nash might have made it. Nash is making a difference over there. Things are still going to be close on this time here. Spencer manages to find another and rack up a little bit more time, but it is a dead heat. It is down to the wire, and they need to make it to that D hill. If your final chapter, you got to dislodge Nash, and you got to start racking up that time.
Tries to see if he can make his way around, still timing to see if he can play up on top of the roof. Drew finding an early kill though, 1:14. This is the last hill available to him. TK does manage to at least get 2 kills, but 40 is still there. They found the double, but don't find the hill is the most important part. They find the kills of the defenders, but not the one contesting the objective story. Manages to at least get another story, and Saint, the body drops off of the roof down below. And they are going to at least see if they can try and hold things on. Spencer is there, but Scorch is behind. They are at least going to try to see if they can fight here. Nashi 2v1 against Story and try to see if they can stall out against the Scorch right now. Swings out wide. Nashi finds another kill. What will he do? Nashi might find another. Snap the fingers, and he's going to be able to have the reveal, but Not is going to be able to find many more kills after that. Swinging the corner, playing in the instant. Scorch v Scorch, but Spencer comes out on top. 65 to 69. Joker goes down soon after that. 20 seconds still remaining. How much more will they be able to take?
I can't take much more of this fight. I don't know about you, but this is one of the tightest games we've seen. 40's going to be able to make it to contest the hill. Actually given up, but now contested. Saint in the corner. 40 pressuring him out.
Oh my
goodness. He has to use the stim shot, but he's going to die. He has to burn out. He can't move anywhere. And all the kills are coming up Red Notice.
C4.
They find Nash, but it's so close to trade there. Who's on the hill? It's going to be members of Red Notice. It's contested, but they flanked on the side. It's taking up Red Notice, and that's going to be
it. Baby! That's how we end that. That's going to be a 3-1, a back and forth, time and time again. We talked about it on the desk. They were talking about how Red Notice, this may not have been the anticipation. This may not have been the match that people were expecting the victor. Final chapter is typically what you would expect to see. But here we are, the victors on the left side. Wow. And my goodness, man. That was an amazing opportunity. What a match to be able to commentate that. And unreal. Red Notice are going to move on to your grand finals.
Yeah, absolutely unreal performance by Red Notice there. And again, I was calling it out. Joker and Drew, by the end of that game, were just on another level. And then Nash who had been, not necessarily silent, but it's hard to keep up when you have players performing at that level.
Yeah.
And he just awakens in that final round. He takes down 2 that are trying to contest. It is players literally just crawling on the hill, desperately trying to get those last tickets. But Red Notice, they're the ones who clutched up a little bit better in the end, and that will push them all the way forward. Not only they have $1,000 more guaranteed, split between them, they also get to go up against Public Hamsters and have a chance to get even more than that in the grand finals.
And that's the craziest match that you could possibly expect, right? We thought this one was, but now not only are they fighting against Public Hamsters, now you got to be worried about the expectations they're going against right now, right? This is grand finals, people, that we will be watching soon enough. That was only the elimination bracket. That's something that you have to be aware of.
We were casting it like it was the last match of our lives. I'm going to be honest, though.
Gun to my head, like, Cass right now. But that's just exactly how it ends up being. The chips fall in place, and Red Notice are going to be your winners. My goodness, man. I mean, that's absolutely crazy. We've seen such an amazing display of skill, such amazing drafts as well, so many different characters.
Yeah, and shoutouts to Final Chapter, dude. I want to just give that out because we were talking a lot about Red Notice here, but shoutouts to Final Chapter. This game was super competitive. They really had it down to the wire here. People weren't expecting them to get this far. They thought they were going out in elimination round 2, but they made it. I think they really surpassed everyone's expectations. Not only had they taken down this team previously, they had a chance to go up against Public Hamsters where they had their moments. I really hope that this team sticks together.
Yeah, I really hope the same thing too, man. I mean, like, that is absolutely crazy. The communication, you heard the positivity, you heard everything, but what you haven't heard is the verdict on the final match. Grand finals coming to you right after this break.